I used to think that like the right was short-sighted by the conversations that we would have, but no, their voters may be short-sighted, but that party, those people, the establishment, they definitely aren't. They look to the future and they try to see like how these things are going to play out for decades to come.
Yeah. No, listen. I mean,
oh my God, Dan's here.
Yes, he is.
Hey,
The
Mama.
way that they actually mapped out the overturning of Roe for over 50 years, I mean, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
What up, Dan?
Exactly.
Hey, all my favorites are here. I love you
Hi,
guys.
Dan.
I'm just joining the live, so I don't want to interrupt the conversation.
No. We're just chit-chatting. We're just chit-chatting.
Yeah, I think that there was a documentary about how like Mitch McConnell had been slowly pushing towards the overturn of Roe v. Wade for the past like several decades. And I mean, not just him, obviously it was a concerted effort, but I 100% agree that Democrats need to start planning for the future in that way. A big criticism that we get a lot now is that Democrats didn't take the opportunity to codify Roe v. Wade, and while that wasn't really possible in recent memory, this was possible back when Obama was president. If we began on the more proactive, ruthless train that the Republicans were already on. That's just one example. I'm sure there's several others, but
yeah, I mean, the only issue back when Obama was in office, even the majority we had, it was like weird, right? Because it was only for a certain amount of time, and then we didn't. Who was it? Someone was out because they had like cancer, right?
You're 100%. So it was only a 3-month period that Democrats had the supermajority. That's not what I'm saying. That supermajority was never voting for a codification of Roe v. Wade. We had Democrats from North Dakota. We had Democrats from Montana. There were a lot of conservative Democrats back then, which is much rarer nowadays. It's very, very difficult for a Democrat to win in a ruby red state or a Republican to win in a sapphire blue state. I don't know if that's a phrase. What I'm saying is, now we're at the point where Republicans have flaunted in front of norms so many times that that Kamala hinted to the idea of using the quote unquote nuclear option, which is the Senate voting to suspend the filibuster rule in order to push through codification of Roe at 51 votes rather than 60 votes. Theoretically, that's something that we could have done back when Obama was president. It would involve the foresight of what Republicans were planning, of course. So I'm not gonna fault them too much, but where we are now, it's so clear that Republicans are not willing to play by the rules, and and I think if we have to roll around in the mud with them to protect human rights, I'm for that.
I'm for it.
Yeah, and like that's always been my thing, and I say this often, right? Like, fuck it, I'm gonna just say it because it's the cookout. Republican voters aren't smart, right? Like, they don't know things, they don't have certain information. But Republican leadership, they're very tactful. I guess I can say that they are methodical with the things that they do, and they understand that like when they have power, they have to swing that hammer. And so they look to get past like the horrible things that they do whenever they have power, and they push it through. So I don't know.
I would like to see Democrats actually beat the Republicans at their own game. I want to see Democrats like get into the weeds and the mud and just like sling it just as hard as they do. But then I think is like the perception. They always want to be perceived as taking the moral high road. When they go low, we go high type of deal. And I'm just not with it anymore. I don't like it. I want us to be like, you don't have to be nasty in the sense of where you have to like, how can I put it? Talk like Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene talk to people, or how Lauren Loomer talks about people. You don't have to do that, but play their game. Use executive order, like use your executive powers when in office. lie and say that, tax cuts are already permanent when they're not. Just do what you have to do.
Holy shit.
That's what they did though.
I'm on Erica's
That's what they
side
did.
with this one. I think we're getting to the point where if the Democratic Party is the only one playing by rules, if the Democratic Party is going to be truthful to a T, and that leads to I mean, I'm not going to say the word unaliving of marginalized people in this country, which is what this bill will lead to, by the way, as a reminder. The cuts to Medicaid, the potential cuts to Medicare through the PAYGO, the cuts to SNAP. This will lead to undue suffering. If it means just playing Trump's game and making shit up that sounds right, then I'm so close to being at that point. It's tough. It's tough because it means like putting our morals to the side for like the greater good. It's like do the end justify the means. And I don't know. I mean, this is a good time to talk about this kind of stuff, not like 2 months before an election, like some people wanted to do. Talk about the problems with the Democratic Party right as we're facing fascism.
Exactly.
This is when we should be discussing this stuff, and that's conversations like this.
That's another reason why I wanted to actually do this, right? Is because I specifically want to have this conversation. So I don't know if I'm at the point that it seems like Erica's there, Dan, you're close to it, and I'm still like holding back, not in the sense of like, because I definitely don't believe. Yes, I definitely don't believe in a sense that it's like, we need to be the purest, and we have to walk the line. And I'm good with like calling bullshit, right? Specifically, like saying, hey, that's bullshit. And but I don't know if I would go as far as like making shit up. I don't know.
No, not making stuff up. It's okay. I can't. Okay, because you know how my brain works. I'm unmedicated. Okay. But the accounting thing, Chris may know. Y'all, all of y'all may know. But it's the tax thing that they used and they lied in the Senate when going over the new tax, well, not the new, but extending the Trump tax cuts. They use an accounting rule to basically make it seem as if the tax cuts are already permanent for the middle and the working class, which isn't true. And there was a way for them to basically skirt exactly how much money this is actually going to add to the deficit.
Yeah,
it's like current something. I don't know. Chris, do you know the name?
Hold on. Let me jump in real quick because I see people and they have questions in the chat. Guys, this is the TikTok cookout. Yes, I invited certain people to the cookout. If you're not in the box right now, unfortunately, you didn't get an invite to the cookout because you can't invite everybody to the cookout. This is the TikTok cookout where me and a few of my really good friends are going to be talking about a couple of different things. When it comes to the left, we're going to be talking about the BBB. We're going to be talking about the midterms. We're going to be talking about like the direction of the party. We got a bunch of amazing people that's supposed to be stopping by. And it's going to be really, really good. So you guys hang out with us, tap the screen, share the live. I might get a few people. Listen, if you guys act right, I might let somebody come up and get a plate. I might let a few people come up and get a plate, but you got to act right in the chat. Knock out we got I think the finger hearts is the goal. Share the live out. Let's get the shares up to like 50 shares. 50 shares. Don't spam share. Like everybody can send it like 1-2 times. Knock out like the little finger hearts. Also, if you want to, pitch in something on a cookout, go ahead and drop it in the pay link. Santana Speaks 24, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. If you're over on YouTube, what up, YouTube? What up, Twitch? Listen, if you guys want to actually, go in on a bottle or something, go ahead and you can send a YouTube super chat. I'll read your message out, or you can hit the pay links. With that being said, Chris, floor is yours.
You repeat your question again, please.
Sure, I just found it actually. It was the current policy baseline. All right, and the current policy baseline assumes that the 2017 tax cuts were already permanent, so extending them would cost nothing to the American public, which is an absolute lie. Those tax cuts aren't public, so that's what they did, Santana. That's what they did to basically be able to include the tax cuts for the middle and the lower class, and also the tax cuts for the rich. Because remember, in 2017, he had already made the tax cuts for the corporations permanent. Yeah. So he's a liar.
So the theory behind that is what a lot of people keep forgetting is that And it's a simple thing. I forget it sometimes too, right? So a tax cut, right? So a tax is a revenue. And when you lower, let's just do an example, right? 35 to 21, that's like billions upon billions of dollars that you need to account for somewhere else. So instead of accounting for it somewhere else, they just use debt spending for it. So that's what a lot of people forget, right? When you're taxing at something like 35%, you have to account for those billions of dollars when you take the cut. So
Yeah. I understand overall like the game, right? Because that's what it is. Like, let's be honest, it's a game. It's a game, and with gaining this, he just signed it. It just came across. With overall, like with the actual perception, and I mean, a lot of politicians take advantage of people who don't know things, and they say stuff and they promise and blah 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 blah. I struggle with it, right? I struggle with it in the sense that like politicians are supposed to be public servants. They're supposed to do what's best for us. And I don't like when they like, I get making promises, but like making shit up is hard for me. So I don't know. And even like playing a kind of twisted game, you know?
I wanna revise my statement before. When I said making shit up, I was exaggerating. I'm gonna give you an example of something that came up earlier today. I was talking to good Liam, one of my mods.
Yeah.
I'm pretty, yeah.
The crappy Liam was here early trying to request help. I was like, dude, you don't get access. I don't even know. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. And the point in particular was that it is like super easy to just quote the bill and say that no tax on tips only applies to cash tips and nobody's reporting cash tips. And that was one of the how early coverage of the bill back in the first version was. And I would clarify on my lives, like, oh, the way the IRS defines cash tips, it actually includes credit card tips. So like this talking point doesn't really work. But when the other side is able to lie with impunity, it's like, why should I not just say it only covers cash tips and then just hope that no one looks into it, right? It makes me feel icky, don't get me wrong. But if it means more people vote to protect human rights, then it's like, maybe we just don't correct the misconceptions. I don't know what the answer is. I think this is a great place to discuss that, but I don't know. I'm on the fence, truly.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I do believe in like doing things for the greater good, right? And if we have to, that's why I'm okay with like being with the shits, right? And specifically calling stuff out. I don't like the premise of going too far, because the one thing that I refuse, and you know, I'm not gonna say who I said this to, but a lot of you guys know. But I said like, hey, do you want to be MAGA? Like, or do you want to actually be the right? Because the things that this person was saying, like, you're saying that you are good with having no morals, no standards, and you know, just like none of that. And I'm not saying that, you know, we have to be just holier than thou, but like, I mean, there has to be some level of honesty and transparency, right?
I don't know if you misconstrue what it is that's being said, but I think that we definitely have to keep our integrity. Integrity is key. And definitely so integrity and being honest and being transparent. It's just that we can't continue. How can I put this?
So
We
fucking
can't.
lose.
Exactly. We keep losing because we're not saying what needs to be said.
Yeah.
Like the left has a tendency to use way too many darn going words to say the simplest things. The left has a tendency to use too many fucking, like, you know, postgraduate degree words.
They like to pontificate.
Yeah. And like I said it last night. I was like, stop telling people what to care about and actually ask them what they care about.
Yeah.
Because the left does that. And I actually I think this might be going off topic, but like with Kamala's campaign, when I sit back and think about it, I actually think that she was telling us what we should care about. She was telling people that they should care about AB. When some people don't, unfortunately, some people don't. I do, but not everyone does. She was only speaking to like 2 issues, and it wasn't hitting with people like it should have been. So ask people what it is they care about, and then let's go from there.
Yeah, and I'll just say this. Kiana, you don't have to raise your hand. This is a kickback. I don't know how many kickbacks you've been to, but we just chilling. We vibing, all right? So just you can come off mute and hop in whenever you want. With that being said, guys, there's 290 people here watching. Tap the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Let's get the shares up to 100 shares. You don't have to share like a million times, but please don't spam share because that's, harmful. But share it out, maybe once or twice. This is TikTok Cookout, and we are hanging out talking about the BBB. We're talking about the midterm elections, the state of the left, just a couple of different things. I have more people that will be rolling through here in just a few moments. I have some of my favorite people on TikTok that have stopped in. And so, yeah, there's that. If you want to actually, contribute to the Cookout, boom. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Also over on YouTube, you can send a YouTube super chat. And, after we talk for a while, maybe if you guys, watch the grill. If you guys just watch the grill for now, and as long as y'all don't let it burn, I might, let a couple of people fix some plates.
And remember, guys, make sure you say it's for Erica and include some hearts.
Good luck.
All right.
Good luck.
Kiana.
Well, I'm sorry, Santana. I'm really big on coming in and respecting people's space, especially if I haven't interacted with them enough to kind of know how things operate. I just wanted to be respectful. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me do this real quick. Josh, that was a weird statement, and you know what? I sent you a request and I muted you. There we go. Hold on. Ooh, I wanna talk to this. Hey, Josh.
Hey, buddy. What's going on?
Did you say Dean's boy?
Wait, aren't you the guy that's always on his live too?
Sure, but what do you mean by Dean's boy?
His buddy. That's what I call my boys, my buddies, my friends.
That's like a little suspicious.
No, it's definitely not. Definitely not. I promise you, it's not. You guys are, I call my friends. All my guy friends are my boys. All my girlfriends are my girls. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, all right.
I've been saying that since I was a kid. It's definitely not disrespectful. I promise you, man. I promise.
All right. You know what? I'll believe you. I would choose to believe you. All right, I'm gonna drop you down. I just want.
Got it. Thanks, man. Good talking.
Yeah, appreciate you. Oh, hold on. Let me unmute you in the chat first.
Wait, Josh, who did you vote for? If you don't mind me asking.
What's that?
Who did you vote for? If you don't mind me asking.
For Harris.
Okay, nice.
Oh, W. Okay, well, maybe not so bad. Okay, maybe.
All right, I'm gonna drop you down.
All right, thanks, man.
So,
good talk.
I would just say, don't use boys toward a black man from the South.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's what caught my attention. The boy. Well, he said boy. It's like W's in the chat for Lori. Lori sent a $2 donation saying, "I have a crush on Chris LMAO. Have a good live." Yeah,
absolutely.
Listen, W's in the chat, Lori. Thank you for the $2 going towards.
You could have sent that to Chris.
I mean, well, Chris is only Chris. Chris brought like paper plates to the cookout, so just chill.
Well, no. I was actually about to come up here and inform you something, but I also want to thank Dan for something. I just got it. Well, this is about the big beautiful bill first.
Well, hold on, real quick. W's in the chat for Lori, guys. If you want to contribute, Santana Speaks 24, YouTube super chat. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Dan's community showed up. I went on this guy's panel called Joe Pagan. He's got like a big show. He's got like 1 million blue verified. We were talking about the big beautiful bill. I'm like, okay, he's conservative. I'm going to request that. Things started getting heavy in there, but Dan's community showed up. So he made a bunch of whataboutisms. He doesn't agree with the amount of debt. He said if the economy doesn't do well, this is going to be a complete disaster, right? Because then we're just going to 2x the spending. So not even the conservatives think like this is a risk right now. This is like playing Risk. So there's a lot of big conservatives that even think, oh crap, we need the economy to do like 100% well for this to even work, right?
Well, so you know what I was saying, and you might have missed this, but I was saying like how there was a poll that was completed, and this is the like most unpopular bill ever. 50% of Americans said that they did not want this bill passed, while 30% said they did. So, that's the thing. Also, W's in the chat for Harold. Harold sent a $15 donation. Happy 15 days after Juneteenth. You know it. You fucking know it. W's in the chat for Harold. Thank you for that donation to the Cookout, guys. Santana Speaks 24. If you want to chip in, somebody, if you want to help buy a bottle or, we got to pick up some ribs or something, go ahead and chip in. Everything's accepted. Everything's appreciated. Anything's accepted. Kiana, you haven't had a chance to actually share your opinions.
Oh, no worries. So I actually wanted to extend kind of on what Erica said about us kind of telling people what they voted for or what they would like to see out of our politicians. So I don't know how far it extends off of TikTok, because TikTok is just a very small population of actual American voters. But if you actually listen to a lot of people on the right, a lot of them don't necessarily hate Democrats, like the people that are actually in Congress. They hate the voters. It's kind of like a Cowboys thing. So I don't actually hate the Cowboys, like as far as football, but I can't stand their fans because they're just that aggravated. And I think, I'm not saying that we have to, what's the word? I'm trying to be wise with my words. I'm not saying that we have to hold their hands and make them feel good about their bigotry, but a lot of them actually voted out of spite towards us, like, because they hate the left that much. That much. So I think it's just wise this time to do what we have to do to get them out of office, because it's going to be so harmful to get them in another 4 years. And they constantly say, well, this is why you guys lost. This is why you guys lost. Now, granted, I don't think that's all that it has to do with it. But if you listen to them, a lot of them voted just because they hate us, because we do come off as like know-it-alls, and a lot of them don't. Honestly, a lot of them don't.
I'll say this, and I'm gonna tip my hand a little bit, and I know this person is watching, but I'll just say, like, hell, I'll say it. Like Trinity, right? Trinity is TikTok famous to a lot of people, but like Trinity, for anyone who's been kind of hanging around MySpace for like the last week and a half, they'll see like Trinity has been not only here in our space, but like engaging in good faith and having like real conversations and listening and learning. And like she and I have kind of chatted on the back end a couple of times, and I told her, I think it was today or yesterday, I was like, listen, I think people have more things in common than not, even with their political differences. And like this BBB, it's not about left or right. It's about one classism, and everyone's going to be affected. And I do think there is like, I'm not someone who's saying, oh, we need to go out and convince Trump voters to, join us or whatever. But I do believe if there's an opportunity to, in good faith, get someone to see a different point of view and actually have an opportunity to quote unquote bring them to our sides, then we got to do it. We absolutely have to do it. And we have to stop talking above people's heads. Like when we sit around and we use quote unquote big words all the time, and you can't have like a normal conversation. Like it's a whole thing. So like, I don't know. We just, it's something to it.
Should I unblock Trinity?
Yeah, Trinity would. I don't know. I mean, it's up to her. If she ever wanted to, she could. But Trinity, I mean, how do you feel about Dan? Would you be willing to actually try to participate in Dan's community? Trinity's been awesome. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, she's legitimately been awesome in our community. So
okay, I'm unblocking. Okay. We'll see if
we have a deal though. Like her and I deal was that like she'll be respectful to the mods and the people in the chat, and the people in the chat and the mods have to be respectful to her. And she's held up her end of the bargain, and it's been really good. So.
I want to speak really quickly to what Kiana had said about a lot of Republicans hating Democratic voters. This is something that just got solidified recently. I can't remember if it was 2 days ago or yesterday, but when Trump was talking about the bill, he literally said it's this amazing bill that blah 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 does all these things, and not a single Democrat voted for it, all because they hate Trump. But you know what? I hate them too. Like, this is a direct quote from the president of the United States, 47th president. He's supposed to be the president of the entire country. And he said, I hate them too. Same guy that called Democrats the enemy within back in the campaign. So this is this is the type of rhetoric that continues to fuel that. Like, we've always, there's always been people that treat politics like sports and hate each other for that reason. But I think it's getting worse through rhetoric like that.
Yeah. I agree. And like, when you have someone that's the head of the snake saying stuff like that, I mean, like, there are literally people that are, they tried to overthrow the United States government for this man. They tried to hang the vice president for this man. Like, they really were willing to unalive people for, Donald Timothy Trump. And when he says stuff like this, it emboldens them, right? And it makes them draw a line in the sand. And that's why I think like it's important for us to like have this real conversation. And again, I'm not saying that we need to reach out to people like, you know, the Buffalo guy, whatever his name is, that stormed the Capitol, or either, you know, Drunky McDrunkster OM or any people like that. But if we get an opportunity to get one of those people who genuinely thought, oh, I'm going to vote for Trump because he's going to make my life better, like we should have those conversations.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. Sometimes I feel like the Dems are just in a perpetual state of clutching their pearls.
Yep.
Like just always clutching their pearls, like, oh my gosh. And then they don't know how to react. But I was just thinking, I don't think that it's our job to, those people that are so far gone, it's not our job to rehabilitate them. I want y'all to sit on that one. You know, we can't give them, you know, turkey sandwiches and take them fishing. We can't do that.
Fucking hell. Right?
We can't do that, guys.
You know what? You know what? Because we had a cookout and we just hanging out, I choose violence. Fuck those people that actually think that, oh, we can just convince them by taking them fishing, or, oh, we need to continue to try to pursue them and get them back to us. No, fuck that. Fuck that.
No, yeah, fuck
you.
it. Exactly. So no, I think we have to have a real concentration on those who didn't vote. And also like the people who, you know, are like, well, I voted for Trump because I thought, you know, Trump's policies would help me. Yeah. Like focusing on those people, I think would have a better outcome for the left than, you know, taking those ones who think cruelty is a sport.
Yeah, because there are some that were just like, hey, like times are hard, and you know, like I need some type of difference, and like I can get behind that. That's why whenever like people donate or whatever, and I always tell them like thank you, and I don't care if you donate $1 or whatever you donate, which, you know, Santana Speaks 24. If anyone donates, I'm always like, I appreciate you because I know how hard things are, and if you actually are willing to support me in any way, shape, or form, whether, you know, it's $1 or, you know, I've gotten change, and I say thank you every single time, because people genuinely want a better life, and I will never knock someone for thinking like, hey, if I do this, if I actually vote for this person, there's an opportunity for me to have a better life. Now, I do fault them for not being completely educated with their vote, but I don't knock them for like saying, hey, things are hard, and I want something different to help make it better.
And I think that's something like that root cause, like why aren't people educated with their vote though? I think that's something that we also could maybe take some time to look into. Like, why didn't you know what Trump did in his first term with the first iteration of the TCJA? Why didn't you know? Like, I'll be honest, not until September of last year was I even aware of what Trump did with the tariffs. I'm not even gonna lie. All right, I learned that like via TikTok, then had to do the research and actually read and learn. I was surprised. I was like, Erica, were you asleep? No, I wasn't asleep. But did not know that he had did all those awful things with the tariffs, the blanket tariffs on China. And so it's like, okay, why didn't you know? Yeah. And so, yeah, I think we have to figure out why people, you know, because people don't know what they don't know, Santana.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good point. And there's two things that I want to. One is going to be a direct reply to that, but also I do want to point out that less than 60% of people that were old enough to vote in the country voted. Whether that's some of that are people that never bothered to register, but most of that are people that just didn't go vote. That's a population that I think it would be important to go after. People that otherwise wouldn't even think that their vote matters. There's a lot of people out there that genuinely think whatever's going to happen is going to happen. They don't see the differences in the two parties. They don't see what is being done to cause what's happening in their life. So they see prices go up on such and such thing, don't know what that's being caused by.
Thank you for the summer solstice.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to mention was for like the root cause for why they don't know this stuff. I agree with Haley in chat. A lot of it has to do with the algorithms. All this like stems back to capitalism for a few reasons. So first of all, there's the algorithms are always going to push you towards what will keep you on the app longer, not towards what the truth is. And that's because the algorithms are working for the companies that want to make money. But also, there's a lot of people out there that, because of the stresses of capitalism, because they want to put food on their table for their family, don't have the time to research this stuff. And those people who choose not to vote because they just simply don't know they don't know enough to vote, it's tough to fault them. Now, that's not me saying that means we should have a communist revolution, but I do think there are a lot of people out there that unfortunately just are locked out of the political process because of how this country works.
Yeah, and I'll say this because I saw someone say, was the truth? You don't think so? Huh, I am. So someone was like, "Oh, Santana, you're giving MAGA a pass. Please, 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 please hear me when I say this. Hear me when I say this. I am in no way, shape, nor form giving quote unquote MAGA a pass. They must be held accountable for their words. Period. But like the thing that I am saying is that I am someone that believes in, I'm sorry, and you guys may not feel the same. I believe in forgiveness. I do. But I don't believe in just general forgiveness. You have to work for it. And so you just saying that you regret your vote, that's not enough for me. Like, yeah, okay, who gives a shit? You just go regret your vote and silence. But no, like if you actually are, if you're actually gonna say, oh, like I fucked up and like I regret my vote, then you have to do the work. You have to do the work. Like you have to get out. You have to protest. You have to, canvas. You have to educate people, educate yourself. And if you're willing to do those things, then yeah, I'm willing to, say, all right, let's do this together. But just saying that, oh, I fucked up, that's not enough for me. And I'm not interested in having to try to convince you that maybe everyone should have human rights. Like if I got to convince you that everyone has human rights, then you can fuck all the way off. Like that's stupid. So there's that.
So I actually, go ahead, Erica.
Oh no, you're fine. Go ahead, Kiana.
Yeah, so I was actually talking about this yesterday, and I don't agree with it. I actually condemn it, and I actually hate it. But I have to realize that this is America. This is how Americans operate. People's perceived reality ultimately trumps facts. They don't care about the fact that the stats and the empirical data that we have says otherwise. All they know is what they felt when they had it, what they lost, and who was there around that time. And that's how they ultimately warp their ideas around voting. And the sooner that the left realize that and are able to work around that instead of condemning people, we can do that in our own closed quarters. Because you guys are just lazy. You don't look up what we're doing. You don't do the work to figure out why things happen and how they happen. You just know that they did happen. But people don't want to be condemned. And until we can get out of this political climate where it's not so unaliving right now and harmful to so many people, we have to do what we have to do. It comes back to political strategy. We have to win those people over some way. And they don't want to be told that they're dumb and that they didn't do X, Y.
You want to say that? That's an ableist term.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Like they don't want to hear that though. And that's what they get told a lot of times because they did not do the work. So that's one thing that we have to work out. And then number two, like I spoke on this a lot too, like especially with my generation, those that are in the mid 20s, early 30s, social media, like everything is kind of wrapped around social media, big time. Yeah. So even if you pay attention to the numbers that we have here on TikTok, the wave has went down dramatically. Just think about election season. The politics were popping right then and there. So it was a wave of politics. Everybody was into it. It was hype. But as soon as the election was over, people went back to their daily life. So we have to figure out a way to keep them engaged, because this is the part that really matters right here, right now, not just a few months before somebody is getting elected. We have to do the in-between work, and we have to figure out a way to keep those voters engaged. The same people that were engaged when Kamala and Trump were running are not the same people that are watching now. They don't know what's going on. So that's another thing I think we really need to focus on, because we really need to grab that voting group, even the ones that are younger, because those are the ones that are actually trending to the red pill that we need to bring back to our side.
Yeah. Hold on one second, guys. So we have someone up here. The Red, what is it? The Red Kingdom. Red Kingdom. You said you voted for Trump. The Red Kingdom? Hold on. Come back. I'll send you a
Teacup, it
request.
makes me
Yeah,
paranoid.
I think they're trying to come off mute. Here, I'll send you. Come back into the screen. I'll show you. I'll send you a request to come off mute, but you have to come back in. You have to be able to see us. If you don't see us, or if it's not full screen, then we can't.
I'm suspicious.
Sure, we'll give them a second. We'll give them a second. But what I'll say is, like, yeah, I completely agree as far as people don't pay attention. Oh, they left. Okay. People don't pay attention. People aren't, engaged, and we tend to be engaged on an everyday basis, and it can be kind of consuming for us, but a lot of people don't necessarily do that. And I think having literacy when it comes to like elections and policies and all this other stuff is not a lot of things that a lot of people have. And it's something that I believe is a concerted effort to make sure that people don't gain. I mean, that's why they don't teach, civics in middle school or high school or stuff like that. So like, I think it's a lot to it. Guys, just an FYI for anyone joining, this is TikTok Cookout. We are hanging out, chilling, shooting the shit, not gonna lie. I have a few of my friends up here. We have more people that are gonna be stopping by, some of my favorite people on the old TikToks. And we are just talking about the current state of the left, the BBB, the midterms, all of those different types of things. And so, if you want to chip in something to the cookout, go ahead and drop it in the pay link, Santana Speaks 24. And if you're over on YouTube and you'd like to actually chip in, you can send a YouTube super chat. I do see that there are people in the box. I specifically, we may bring people up a little bit later, but I specifically had certain people that I requested to join. So if you're in the box right now and you're a quote unquote friendly, you can go ahead and drop out for now. You can drop out for now because again, I only have a set number of people that I invited. But if you are a Trump supporter and you would actually like to join the conversation, we're talking to a few Trumpies if they come up. Nothing too deep. I'm not trying to, spar, but if they wanted to join the conversation and chime in, are you guys okay with that?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah. If you are a Trump voter, Trump supporter, and you have something that you would like to add to the conversation, go ahead and get in the box, and we'll talk to you. But if you're not a Trump supporter, don't request up because we're not necessarily talking to everyone at this very moment. Let's see. Brusky, are you there?
Broski.
Broski,
why that make me laugh?
Nah. Yeah, everybody do the same thing. Nah, that's what they call me over here. I'm from New York City. I'm a Harris voter.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna drop you down for right now, friend.
Yeah.
You might be able to come back a little bit later.
I'm actually in the supermarket right now. I was just listening.
Hey, listen, pick me up a pop.
Oh, man, listen, this shit's expensive. I wish we could. I want to hear somebody talk about the prices right now because I'm here right now. We can talk. We can compare that. We can talk.
I thought you were a Southerner.
What was that?
No, I was talking to Sense. I thought you were a Southerner.
I am, but I said that specifically because he said he's from New York.
Oh, okay. I was like, we don't say pop. That's a Chicago up north.
I know. W's in the chat for Madonna. Madonna sent a $5 donation saying, "Immigrants make America great." You are absolutely right about that. Thank you so much for that donation. Guys, again, if you want to add to the cookout, go ahead and hit the pay links. And again, if you are not a Trump supporter, do not request up. This is the cookout, but we're specifically got people hanging out that I invited here. So yeah, we'll do that.
Let me set your live goal.
I didn't indulge it. I left it alone. Cause what kind of goddamn nail did you hit on them damn buttons, guys? You hear me? I didn't say nothing. I didn't push it. I let it go.
Donnell, I don't know what's going on.
She said she called and got it fixed later on that day. I mean,
what?
You know what I mean?
I'm invested.
And shit smell like
I am
shit.
too.
I don't care what kind of.
I got my ear to the phone.
Donnell, do you know you're here?
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it sounded like shit. It's shit. I don't care what kind of film you put up. I didn't say no. I let it go. Yeah, I got a call, and I drove on the tie, and he told me I almost messed my tie up. Reggie, okay. I didn't say no.
Now that you got to look up,
Donnell.
What kind of bullshit is that? If you drive,
What kind of bullshit is that?
Jeez Louise, I don't know what's happening.
He's definitely from the South. He's
Hey,
selling
he
one of my
was.
uncles.
I know, Kay. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. All right, that was wild. Fucking hell. W's in the chat for Terry. Terry sent a $25 donation saying enjoy the cookout or enjoying the cookout. Listen, massive W's in the chat for Terry for kicking in $25 for the cookout, guys. If you want to actually, you know, put something on a bottle, or, you know, if you listen, be better than buying plates or, you know, buns or whatever, go ahead and hit the pay link. Santana Speaks 24. Best way to support the live. Anything's accepted. Everything's appreciated. If you're over on YouTube and you would like to send a YouTube super chat, go ahead and do so, and I'll read that message out. All right. I'm sorry, guys, for interrupting.
No worries. Can I ask y'all a question?
Hit me.
You know that one time a few of us tried to...
You cut out. You were about to say something, and I feel like I know what you were about to say, and that was Jeebus stepping in and saying, "Don't you say those words."
I thought that was me.
I think she was about to say, you remember that one time a few of us tried to unfuck America?
Yeah, my AirPods keep connecting, but I'm using my mic.
I remember the time we tried to, because I remember when we tried to unfuck America together.
Yeah, we tried to. Dan was there too. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Good times. But like, seriously, I think that as you know, I always use quotation marks when I say it, but as content creators, and we do this, and I know some of us say that this is our own form of activism. I really think that like how do we take it from, you know, on camera to actually being like out in the neighborhoods and canvassing, or even working behind the scenes, sending emails, making phone calls? Like, how do we actually start doing those things? Because I feel like this fire has been lit. Like, I'm fired up and I'm ready to go, where I want to be more involved. It's just, I don't know how to start. And I know there's so many of us just like that. And so like, what can we do?
Yeah, I heard you talking about this that on Zeus's this morning, and it's something, you know, I know you and I have kind of spoken about this, and it's something I've been working on as well. Like, I think we have to find a way to do. Terry said run for office, not me, not I, says the cat.
Someone reached out to me about running for office.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah, I've had to tell a few people, I'm good.
I've said cracker too much in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Go on.
But like the thing that I think is we have to, like, I don't know, and you guys might actually oh, okay, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. You guys might actually think the same way that I think, but like, I feel like us specifically, the people up here who have a voice and a platform, and someone who gets in front of hundreds or thousands of people, and people, you know, donate and send gifts and show up and messages and tag us in videos and all this other stuff. Like, I feel like we have an obligation, and we have an obligation to do more than just sit behind a screen and just say, you know, hey, do these, right? And so for me, I feel like there's an obligation to show up and do those things, but then also find additional ways to not only give back, but to help in more ways than one. So I'm working on a few things, and you guys know how I tend to rope you guys into stuff that I do
all the time.
All the time. But yeah, like, I feel like it's a responsibility.
So can I do promo?
For what?
Huh? Well, for myself, self promo?
Ain't no self promo in my cookout.
I'm gonna hand out some flyers. So guys, I'm handing out flyers right now at the cookout. All right. So don't you mute me or drop me. All right.
I'm just getting to the right sound. Go ahead.
I know.
Play games.
Choosing violence every time.
I am.
All right. I'm just saying, on Sunday, Money Out of Politics is going to join me, and we're going to actually discuss with people how we all can get involved locally with different organizations all across the country, so that we can actually work towards gaining control, the majority, super majority, in both the House and the Senate. Because with the big, beautiful bill being signed today, it's not irreversible. All right, they can repeal it. We just need to have the majority. So it's a part of a series that I'm doing, bridging the gap between content creators and organizers. And the first step is going to basically be telling people like what is organizing, how you can go about doing it, how you can be involved, and what's available to you. That's the first part. And then I'm going to rope you guys into the second part, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know me. I honestly don't mind like helping out and doing to a fault. I mean, sometimes I try to step up and I try to unfuck stuff and stuff gets fucked up even more. But like but I don't mind helping, and I think it's like it's needed, right? And but yeah, someone said boycott works. But yeah, like I don't know. I think we have to be more strategic about the things that we do, and I think that we have to actually put more energy and effort in the real work. Something that I like. I don't give the right credit for a lot of things, but there's a few things that I feel like the right does well, and I will continue to give them credit for. And the one thing that I feel like the right does extremely well is their ground game, right? I mean, like the local elections and those types of things, like they do that extremely well. And that's why you see so many people that's on the right that, you know, work within those polling places and they run for those local offices and things like that. And the left, like we tend to focus on the presidential election and, you know, the midterms, but not the actual individual, like actually impacting things. And we have to be better in those. And you know what's like jacked up? I feel like we up here, we're having this conversation, but then you take a look at like the politicians and you talk about Chuck Schumer or you talk about Hakeem Jeffries or what, and I don't think they're having these types of conversations, but also too, like they're just so fucking cringeworthy, and I don't think they're good at what they do. So.
Right. Their campaign game and propaganda machine is like
amazing.
Like I'm convinced that it's untouchable because the way that they can convince people and then get into office and do absolutely nothing, it's insane. But I had this conversation the other day as well because I am really frustrated with the Democrats. Like I'm not to the point where I feel like I need to protest my vote. But I am extremely frustrated whether it's just them not moving the way that I would like for them to move or allowing Jasmine Crockett to hold the megaphone and be the voice of reason for the people. And then when it's actually time to put her in power, they want to put her to the back of the line. I don't know if you guys heard Joy Reid on, and I don't even watch The Breakfast Club, but I saw her clip explaining how the Democrats operate. And when I say she had a perfect summary of how they operate and how they want to be so technical about how they move, and we're literally going up against fascism and it's not the right move. She summed it up perfectly. I would suggest everybody to go listen to Joy Reid talk about the Democrats and how they did Jasmine Crockett. But that's where a lot of my frustration has came from this week. The fact that I don't think that they're making the right moves and how they've done Jasmine Crockett. I feel like a lot of times Black women's labor is not appreciated. It's not appreciated. And
say it all the time.
Yeah, it's utilized when necessary, and then we're always put on the back burner, and that is frustration to this team.
I'll say this, right? Because like when you talk about the Democratic Party and you talk about the left, the one thing that I'll say is that like we have such a large umbrella and we have incredible depth on our bench. And when you have someone who actually captivates people, someone who engages people and it becomes a phenomenon, like you have to lean into those things. And I feel like a lot of times that we don't do that, and that's a huge problem because you talk about like Mobdani, I think I'm saying it right, but in New York, like you know how many Democrats I've seen attacking him instead of saying like, hey, this is our guy, this is who we need to get behind, because it's the establishment, right? It's the old guard who, and this bothers me on the left and the right, when politicians are more worried about power and staying in power versus actually doing what's best for the constituents. And when you see people actually like literally going after someone who is engaging the left, especially when we know for a fact that we had a voter turnout issue, like why are we doing that? Hold on, guys. We got somebody else is getting ready to join the cookout. It looks like my brother just showed up. So let's go ahead and fix him a plate. Parker, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up?
Nothing much. We're just here having a little bit of a kickback, enjoying some cookout.
What's up? What's up? I was listening in. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I generally agree with like everything that's being said. Like, I think that the Democrats are incredibly weak on messaging. I feel like they're not listening to their own base. And like, I understand why people typically say that like Democrats have this like elitist idea of they're not willing to engage with people in terms of constructing a new sort of message. And that's what needs to happen right now. Democrats need to realize in power that they need to look to what people are saying in typical, right? They need to engage with communities, right, across the board in order to be able to actually hear people out. That's what people need. People need genuine politics. They don't need this like sort of like politics, like say whatever is going to get votes sort of thing anymore. Like that's not what people are like looking for.
But you know, like the thing that gets me is if we actually like if they ran on the things that they know that people really wanted, like they could win, but they refuse to actually lean into the things.
That goes back to what was said earlier, though, when I said that they tell people what to care about instead of asking them what they care about. Like they legit need to find out. They need to do conduct more research, actually go out into the neighborhoods and talk to people to understand. I think that the Dems take this road of like, we know what's best for you. We know, and they don't. They really don't.
Exactly. Also, like it's the idea that like they're not willing to engage with social media or build that infrastructure.
That part.
I was talking to Santana about this like on the phone the other day. Like literally, like we have no infrastructure at all on the left comparative to people on the right. And a huge issue with that is that they won't like start like funding things, engaging with stuff until it gets off the ground, because they kind of want stuff to be play tested before they engage with it.
But do you remember like when we were in LA and like I was telling like how they had us just standing off to the side doing a bunch of nothing, and like it was just like they missed out on such an opportunity.
Yeah, and they wouldn't even let me up. like
what are we even doing?
So I have a couple really quick things on this. Number one, I mean, I agree almost entirely with everything you guys are saying. I think a big problem here is that the Democratic Party is refusing to learn from what happened with the Republican Party. A big part of Trump's success back in 2016, because he did not have this cult that he does now back in 2016. A big part of his success was running on anti-establishment and taking advantage of social media. And then when it became clear that the Republican base wanted more of this, wanted more anti-establishment candidates, for better or for worse, because a lot of their candidates are obviously like full-blown Nazis. But when it became clear, when they started losing primaries, the Republican Party fell in line, and now they're the party of Trump, which is what their voters want. The Democratic Party wants younger, more energetic, more progressive candidates. It's clear in places like New York that we just saw, and it's clear when we see the popularity of people like Jasmine Crockett. And yet, when we have younger candidates run for Democratic leadership, there's always this pushback, because the old guard there is still clinging on to dear life, whereas the old guard on the other side has given up, because they were willing to work with this person that is energizing their base, even though they disagreed with him on a lot of things. And now they're getting everything they want. So that's just one thing I wanted to point out on that. The second thing is a lot of this stems back to the way campaigns are funded. And this is a callback to money out of politics, obviously. But a politician, particularly those in the House that have to run every 2 years, their number one priority is winning re-election, rather than working for the people.
The next election.
And until we can do something about that, whether it's through legislating a way around the Citizens United ruling or whatever it is, we're going to continue having politicians whose job is to get reelected rather than work for the people. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that issue.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that when you talk about like the money that's pumped into politics, it becomes a huge thing. And as long as those politicians are getting paid, they're going to be self-serving instead of actually taking care of their constituents like they should. Sorry, you guys got it. They're being funny.
I don't like AIPAC. I'm like the biggest denouncer of AIPAC. People like them and the non-grassroots, because that's a whole different conversation. I consider that ethically honest, right? Ground roots. But if you get all these PACs and corporations mixed in here, then they have to align with interests that's based on their shareholders' interest, and that's what quite literally complicates the whole thing.
Yeah, Parker, you were about to say something?
Oh yeah, like I was also gonna say that like I think it's ironic that like moderates are always crying about like left-wing infighting, and then like literally we're not willing to back Zoran, right? When it is the case that like he's the candidate. Like, and they're literally like not willing to actually like support left-wing candidates. It's so funny that they're playing into the infighting after claiming it was just like leftists, right, or people on the progressive side that were doing that.
Yeah, yeah. And let me say this real quick because I see the chat is getting a little bit spicy. And you guys might not have known if you're hanging out here and you haven't been, around in the last week and a half. Just an FYI, Trinity is a part of our community now, so please remain respectful in the chat. She has been respectful to everyone else. That's our agreement. Trinity is a member of our community now. So guys, please, we're not going to do that here. Seriously, like keep it respectful in the chat or you can leave. Sorry. Yeah, like it's interesting to me how not only is it that they feel like the quote unquote infighting is a real thing, but also kind of going back to what Erica said earlier, like the pearl clutching, right? And even more so, it's funny once the left started to get a little quote unquote edgy, right, and start to curse and do all this, like they came out and was like, oh, why are these Democrats cursing and da 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 da, and I'm like, what are we even doing? Like I'm tired of like the games and the politicians playing politics. Like people need to actually do things to help the everyday American, and that's just not happening.
You guys are saying all of this because I've been having this conversation basically all week, but especially yesterday when the bill passed. And I got a lot of pushback, and it kind of made me feel like, my thoughts and how I felt was a little wacky, I guess you could say.
What do you mean?
Because people are like, well, the Democrats, what can they do? They have progressed us for. You guys have to be patient. It takes time. Like that's kind of the response that I got. But say what you want about Donald Trump and the people that are on the right. I don't agree with hardly. I can even name two things that I agree with the right on. But he listens to his base.
Yeah.
The Democrats are no longer listening to us. It's like they're in their own group and listening to themselves. And it's only a few of them compared to millions of us. They are no longer listening to us, and that's why they're losing people. So not only have they tried to cater to the moderates and the people that are center right, and that didn't work out, it backfired. You actually have people that are on the left that agree with their politics where they're losing faith in the base because they're no longer listening to us. What we're asking for, we're not getting. Yeah. And people are becoming frustrated to the point where they say, well, I'm just not going to vote anyways. And that's what we saw the last election. And they're still doing the same thing now. So it concerns me that if Donald Trump doesn't hurt America enough, and I'm not saying that I'm hoping for that by any means necessary, I feel like we're going to be in the same predicament again because they're not listening to us with open ears.
And so, focus groups.
So this is the thing, right? And I've had this conversation with many of you, and I know like Parker and I have talked about this directly, but like I feel like the Democratic Party, they not only are they like slow to respond, but they don't talk to the right people to get the right information, and that's why they miss opportunities, like taking advantage of content creators and people who have like such a wide footprint and they can connect with other people. Like they don't do that, and they basically sit around and they look at each other and it's like, well, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to do, and not only do they not listen, but they don't respond. Like I always talk about how the Trump administration spent $290 million on transphobic ads.
215 million.
No, it was 290.
It was 215.
Okay, I'm gonna fact check.
Erica's right. It's 215.
Say it louder,
Erica,
Dan.
Do you two want to see a magic trick?
No, you better not.
All right then. Okay. But regardless, like over $200 million on like transphobia, and it took like the Democratic Party forever just to actually respond to that. Like, what are we even doing? Also, guys, for anyone that just joined and you guys are wondering what this is TikTok Cookout. Listen, me and a couple of my friends are having a bit of a kickback. We are just chopping it up, talking about the BBB, the midterms, the current state of the left, and, you know, just any and everything. While you guys hang out, tap the screen, share the live. Let's get the likes up to 150,000 likes. Gift the panel, right? We got a bunch of great people up here. Make sure that we gift the people on the panel, because they're just hanging out, spending their time, and, you know, they don't necessarily have to do this. And last but not least, guys, if you want to add something to the cookout, right? If you want to actually, you know, buy some chips or some buns or some burgers or whatever, go ahead and hit the pay link. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything's accepted, anything's appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, make sure you're liking the stream, and you can also send a YouTube super chat to help support. Guys, okay, so the question I have for everyone is, like, I hope there's not many people on the right watching at the moment, because I'm going to be kind of like, this is going to be a little bit kind of mask off for us. But are any of you concerned about, like, the midterms, in the sense of, I haven't seen proper messaging coming from the left? I haven't seen, like, pushing of certain candidates. I haven't seen the type of organization and groundwork that I would want to see for, one, which could be a big midterm for us, and two, an opportunity to really take back power, but they haven't actually done the things just yet. Like,
because the left is friggin' reactive. They're not proactive. They're reactive. They're waiting to see basically what the right is going to do so they can counter it, which I think is a problem. We need to get ahead of them and be out in the forefront with more progressive candidates that people actually want. That's why I said focus groups. All right, they need to talk to different demographics. Talk to young Black men, the college student Black men, you know, the 25 and under. Talk to you know, the moms like my age, you know, they're going maybe 35 to 42-year-old moms. Like, talk to us. Talk to the older people. Basically do your focus groups and just talk to people to understand what it is that they care about. So then that way we can get the candidates that they can identify with. Because, guys, whether we like it or not, people do not vote for those they don't feel like they can have a beer with. All right, guys, if the guy feel like he can't we learned that with George Bush. If they don't feel like they can have a beer with them, they won't vote for him. If the woman doesn't feel like she can go to brunch with her or go shopping with her, she's not going to vote for her. All right, so we have to be able to get candidates out there that people can actually identify with, but who also still hold that integrity and will be able to push the policies that we actually need to move this country forward.
Yeah.
Focus groups.
So the only
That was the word.
So I guess the little comparable analysis here, right? So the conservatives have this tactic where they use a lot of incorrect information, but they can just label it like on everybody, right? Non-factual things that all of us here have debunked about a million times about immigrants, but they claim it's impacting everybody from the Black community to the elderly and all these other things, right? And outside of people's like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's like very successful Q1 in fundraising and messaging, I haven't seen one person try and make a unified message for all the demographics that the conservatives lie to all the time. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing kind of fragmented the messages to different demographics, ages of people on the left. And I just think if we just consolidate a message for everybody, like the conservatives do incorrectly, by the way.
Yeah, they do. But see, like, that's a problem. And I've spoken about this, and I know that this like pipeline now has been kind of fractured for the right. But the right used to do a thing where they would actually like someone on Twitter would say something, and it would be like a take that was like whatever, and then Elon would see it, and Elon would like, oh, I like this, and then Elon would amplify that take, right, and keep pushing it out on Twitter and repeat it and blah 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 blah, and then the actual podcast bros, right, like people like Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk, like all of them would actually grab that point and start amplifying it. So people are seeing it on Twitter. Now they're hearing it from like influencers and podcasters. And then legacy media would actually get a hold of the talking point. And then like Fox News would start parroting that point out. And so now you have all of them parroting it out. And then like Trump gets a hold of it, the actual Republican Party. And then by the time that it's made it to legacy news and to the Republican Party, millions of people on the right have already gotten that same talking point. And think about it. How many times have all of us actually spoken to, different Trump supporters, and they all say the same thing? Like they all parrot the same thing. And we're like, oh, your PDF must have been updated. Like, oh, that's your new talking point. It's because they literally get that. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Oh my God, Smitty is here.
It's how they all got the same $750 talking point about FEMA in North Carolina. It happens over and over and over, this isn't indicative of the problems we've been talking about so much. That the right is taking advantage of social media and is taking advantage of the spread of information in this way, whereas the left, at the very least, the left in power aren't doing this to the extent that we should be in the year 2025.
Yeah. Now, guys, one of my other bros just came up for the cookout. Let's make sure we go ahead and grab him a plate. Smitty, what up?
Going on, everybody? What's going on, man? How are you?
Good. Listen, we're just here for a bit of a kickback.
Man, it's very much needed. I'm just coming into the conversation, and I'm so glad you're doing this, man.
Hey, Smitty, real quick, I want to let you know something. Don't eat the potato salad. Santana put raisins in it.
Whatever.
Oh, man,
First and foremost, I make amazing potato salad. Don't you dare, right? And you know what? Like the simple fact of the matter is if you're jealous, just say you're jealous. That's all you gotta do. If you're jealous of my cooking, just say it.
What? Are you serious? Have you seen my arms?
E.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
Just keep it funky. That's all you got to do. I'm sorry. Anyway,
Bubba's
Schmitty.
still alive, ain't he?
Yeah, Schmitty. What do you want to add to the conversation?
Oh, man, I'm just coming in, so I don't know if this has been mentioned, but a couple of things. I think, one, and this is kind of maybe more of a LA perspective or someone living in Southern California with all of this activity from ICE, man. It's just been really tough. And on a personal level, there have just been people I've had to cut out of my life, man. Hopefully this isn't bringing the mood of the live down, but I cannot operate like things are okay. I can't operate like, this is just normal within the scope of what I would consider normal, and people are just in a state of fear. One of the things I'll share real quick is, I'm sure you get this too, and everybody else up here gets this, where, you make some content and you get DMs, and I made some content around immigration. And I got this DM from a doctor, and he said, Smitty, you'll never believe it. He said, right now, instead of prepping for surgery or doing what I normally do, I just had a meeting with the nurses, and we had a plan this meeting to figure out where we're going to hide all of our sick patients that are undocumented if ICE comes in and raids the hospital.
That is wild.
And I said, man, it's certain things, right? It's not always just seeing content of somebody getting rounded up or whatever. Like it's something like that you get, right? That just really brings it home, man. So it's just been really tough.
I'll say this because I'll just say I have information on a large one of the larger healthcare. I'm trying to figure out how to say this with healthcare network in the Pacific Northwest, and I know there was communication sent out specifically saying, basically affirming like, hey, we understand what's happening with these ICE raids. We understand what's happening with this administration. And we also understand like what's being done. And just an FYI, we will continue to serve and protect all patients, no matter their status. And also, we do not have a legal right. We do not have a legal obligation to disclose anything about any of our patients. Basically saying like, hey, we're going to continue to take care of these people, and we're not handing people over, and we're not giving out information about these people. We will continue to do the things. And I think like there's certain businesses and people, like I think like we have to take care of each other, and that's super necessary. Real quick, guys, W's in the chat for, I think it's pronounced Jendea, who sent a $5 donation for the cookout. W's in the chat for Jendea. Thank you so much for that $5 donation, guys. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything's accepted, anything's appreciated. Floor to you guys.
I was about to say it's eerily quiet.
I was about to say, for a panel full of content creators, for no one to be talking, what is happening?
Like trying to respect everyone's space or something.
I'm elevating.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Same here, actually. But one thing that I'll say, though, Smitty, I get the sentiment because I lived in Texas, right? So, like, this is like ICE, detention central, and I actually got detained on March 5th.
Yeah, you know what's I don't want to call it interesting, but like,
am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you stopped for a second and then you came back. No, you're good.
Call here, especially in like southern Texas. My app thing's gonna keep
you're
going
cutting
off.
out again,
Yeah,
Chris.
so
Cutting out, Chris.
yeah. Can you guys hear me again? Sorry, I'm like freaking levitating. Yeah, so it's the same protocol here in Texas too, in places like Laredo and like the southern state. Like, it's just crazy how much illegality that ICE can get away with, and I'm really surprised about like how much federal court action is actually not happening. And like, I've had to, same thing, Smitty, like I've had to cut people out of my life too, and they're like, okay, it's just, they make the claim that it's acceptable losses when they raise, like schools and all these other things. And it's just sad that the condition of the U.S. is like, okay, we can have the Gestapo going around and it's just collateral damage. So yeah, I totally get that sentiment, being in Texas as well.
Yeah. Let me say this real quick, guys. Just an FYI, if you're watching right now and you look up at the top and it says the word follow, that means you're not following me. This is the main account now. This is the main account. You may think, oh, it's Santana. I know Santana. If you see the word follow at the top, that means you're not following me. Go ahead and hit that follow button, because the other account got Thanos, right? So we're here. If you want to be able to catch us, make sure that you go ahead and hit that follow button. Also, if you haven't sent your daily heart me, go ahead and send it. It's only 1 coin. It helps boost the live. You can join the team. You got to go back in and make sure you actually claim that, and then also set the notification so you know when I go live, because I go live. Can we talk for a moment, guys, about how like the amount of money that's being allocated to ICE in this BBB is more than a lot of countries' military budget? Like, that's wild.
Yeah. There's an infographic on this on my Instagram. It's actually crazy. I think it's ranked like 14th or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The problem is, right, the fundamental problem with this is that ICE right now burnt through their initial year's budget like next month, like by the middle of next month. So not only are they mismanaging it, they're doing it to increase detention of legal people like, like us asylum seekers, TPS, by 800%. So your tax money is getting boosted and wasted to go detain legal people. Like, this is where all this money is going towards.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And I just wanted to add one thing. I mean, you guys, both you and Parker, Chris made a good point around, again, just, you put your money in what you value, right? And so, I thought it was either 14th or 17th in terms of world military budget, right, where ICE sits now. And it's just incredible, right? Given the lack of due process, given the level of just absolute fear that so many folks are living in. And again, it's not just folks that are undocumented. I know you guys probably all saw this memo that came out on Monday around now naturalized citizens basically can have their citizenship revoked. And what that does is that literally creates a different class of citizenship.
Yeah.
Right. If you call me a citizen, but at the same time, right, if I make a mistake or whatever it may be, whatever you deem a mistake to be, and now my citizenship can be revoked, then again, am I really a citizen? Am I really a full-fledged, quote unquote, citizen of the United States?
And I want to speak to the precedent that something like that sets, and the slippery slope. And by the way, we're not at the peak. We're on the slope. We're falling down the slope. But when you have something like the calls for Mamdani to be denaturalized,
right,
because he allegedly supports a T group because of a rap song, this is the type of stuff that can extend to anyone for criticizing Israel, because if the H group is considered a T group, which I personally don't disagree with, but you're protesting on behalf of Palestinians and against the G side in Israel, all of a sudden you are at risk of being denaturalized. And this is, just so we're clear, this is something that Donald Trump talked about during his election. So this is not a surprise that they'd be pushing for something like this. But it makes it so that you can't speak out against anything unjust if the government disagrees with you, unless, of course, you're a full born, like your grandparents were born here, whatever different class of citizen, like Smitty was talking about. Like if you are an American citizen but you disagree with the government, now you're not an American citizen, and that's a problem. Exactly. And that's just where we are now. Where will it be next administration if we have another Trump, or if Trump continues, whatever it might be? It's scary.
Yeah. Let me say two things real quick. W's in the chat for Natasha. Natasha sent a $50 donation saying, just because you're killing it, love all your shows. Natasha, thank you so much for that $50 donation towards the cookout. Massive W's in the chat for Natasha, guys. If you want to actually support the live, you can do so. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything's appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a YouTube super chat and I will read it out. Guys, this is an all-star panel, and I don't see their coins cha-chinging. Let's make sure that we're taking care of all of these amazing people that were invited to the cookout on the panel. Guys, we're sitting back. We're talking about the BBB. We're talking about the midterms. We're talking about the left and, the future of the Democratic Party. So, guys, make sure you take care of these wonderful creators. If you're not following me, go ahead and hit that follow button. This is the main account now. Make sure you hit the follow button, and, you can actually also set it so you can know when I go live. Guys, we got Triple H that just showed up to the cookout. We got my brother Zeus. Zeus, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good.
How's everyone doing, actually?
Good. Zeus, go ahead and let you have a plate. Anything you want to add?
All I can say is, just keep up the good work, everyone. I'm looking at this administration. It's four years, so I'm dividing it up into 4 quarters, and I'm just going to encourage everyone to understand that, as ugly as it looks in this first quarter, I do think there's several ways that we can all come together and actually come out victorious, and do something very incredible to save this great country of ours. So whatever I can do, I'm here to do it. I'm here to support all of you in whatever capacity possible, but under no circumstances should we surrender to the Donald Trump and his supporters, because you know how I feel about them.
Yeah, and you know what I was going to say, like the interesting thing about everyone that's up here, right? We all have like our own different styles, and how we engage, not only with the people on the left, but also people on the right. And I think that everyone here has like a role. And not only just a role in the sense of like saying, I have to do this or whatever, but I think every single person up here, like all of our voices are important because we reach different people, right? And I know there's some crossing of our communities, and people bounce back and forth, but you have people in your communities that may not actually, come into other people's communities, and they get to get a perspective that they don't get in a normal situation because of the way that you guys communicate with Trump supporters or, people on the right or whatever. And I think that also lends itself to being able to reach and engage. Like, think about it. How many times have we ended up having a conversation afterwards with someone who's like, yeah, howdy partner. I was a Trump supporter, but like listening to your live changed my thoughts or changed, my voter. I no longer support because of you and because of something that you said or whatever.
Well, I'll go first, or who's going first?
Whoever.
Okay.
Everybody's just sitting quiet.
Anyone, I'll go after.
I was just going to say.
I'll go first.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Erica.
I was going to say, and that you're exactly right,
Erica, she yapped
Santana.
too much.
Oh
I'm sorry. Go
God,
ahead.
please. Can you just try for 2
Just,
seconds?
just go.
Good grief. I'm here for free,
I
okay?
know. I know.
Listen. No, that actually brings me back to something that someone said in the comments. Someone was like, we should boycott MAGA. We shouldn't talk to them. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not
No.
doing that because, and I say this all the time, these conversations aren't necessarily for the people who request up and that want to, have these talks, these conversations, these
Right.
debates. It's not for them. It's for the audience. It's for those that are listening. It's for them because they're going to hear something that sparks their curiosity, or they're going to say, oh, I didn't know that. Then they're going to go research it. They're going to learn something. And then they're going to go tell, their parents or their siblings or their cousins, their coworkers. They're going to do that. It's not for the MAGA. So no, I'm not going to stop talking to Donald Trump supporters because, again, I don't do it for them.
Yep.
All right. I do it for you in the audience. That's who I do it for.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Let me say this real quick. I saw someone saying, "Oh, they won't let me listen." I don't know if you guys see this. It says TikTok cookout, and not everybody gets an invite to the cookout. If you're in the request and you're not getting up, that's because you wasn't invited to the cookout. We might let some people up later, but listen, I had specifically invited my friends that I wanted to join to the cookout. That's why they're up here on the panel. So yeah.
Also another thing, Irene, protesting isn't the only way to have your voice heard. There are so many ways to have your voice heard. So please join me on Sunday at 1 p.m. and we can talk about how you can get your voice heard outside of protesting. Thank you.
Yep. Zeus.
If whoever's coming up, I don't know if they're a Trump supporter or not, but I just want to say I'm not into hurting feelings right now, so I'm with you, Santana. I've done enough of that.
Like this is Zeus. Not everybody get not everybody get an invite, and even when you do give certain people invites to the cookout, you might say, "Hey, bring plates, bring napkins." Like the people up here specifically were invited because I know everybody could bring a dish, so that's what we're doing.
He's going to go next after Erica.
Yeah, no matter. Parker.
State the question again. I'm elevated and I forgot the question.
We're just talking about
a response, and then I was just like waiting, and then I was like, I completely forgot.
We're just talking about.
Is that the new Gen Z word? Elevated.
It is Parker. Parker.
It's so that I don't. It's like terminology that doesn't get the TikTok live.
Got it. Okay. My bad.
We were talking about like how we use our different platforms and voices to not only reach like the people that support us or support the left, but how many times we've actually spoken to people on the right who have been like, actually, I heard this from you and it changed my mind, and I no longer support Trump because of that.
Yes, I remember now. So I was gonna say something about this. I think that this is like a unique perspective that you can have through having these different types of dialogues and seeing people's minds change. Like I've been talking to people for years upon years upon years, and I've seen thousands upon thousands and thousands of people change their minds. And there are plenty of people I've debated and I've had conversations with that have changed their minds, especially in the long run. I mean, Santana and I even had a conversation about like literally Trinity recently, right? Literally people that have historically speaking watched us and not liked us, not been a fan of us, over the time of watching us come to realize that what we're saying is true, right? And engage with the content that type of way. And I think that that's true for a lot of people, and people don't see like oftentimes I think who engage with other types of content don't see how important this type of content is for changing people's perspectives on the matter and changing their understandings, because a lot of people are in their echo chambers, like on the internet of like, oh, I hear this certain type of information and this is the way that I think of it. I can't think how someone else could think in a different type of way. And that's because they're not engaging in dialogues like that, which is totally fine. And everyone serves their purpose in different ways. There are so many different types of content like that that are so important towards the understanding of people on the left so that they can have conversations with people on the right, or they can do stuff in their lives and they can understand things for themselves. Like all of our different content serves different purpose, and engaging with people like specifically on the right serves an incredible purpose of ensuring that people on the right are constantly engaging with left-wing opinions, right, that to hold themselves accountable. Because if we do not talk to right-wingers, they're going to become more radicalized into their opinions, and they're not going to be held accountable for their opinions as much. Right. So like, I think it's incredibly important for us to continue engaging in these conversations, not only for the people who are in MAGA, right, but for the people who are on the left as well, so that they can engage with their MAGA family members. Like it's incredibly important to have like the arguments to be able to respond to people who are going to be in your even personal life, right? Because if you don't have that type of ammo to respond to them, it might feel like in their own head that they have some sort of like like factual basis to their position, right? Or they feel emboldened into their position, which we want them to feel the opposite of because that would get them to like be more likely to change their position on the matter. Because if they feel emboldened in their position, they're less likely to be questioning of the position.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think that if you, I'm sorry, go ahead, Zeus.
I think that was Chris, but
Dan, go ahead, bro. You got it.
Okay, wait. Let me say this real quick. W's in the chat for Eveline. Eveline sent a $5 donation, a little for the cookout, and put the Mexican flag and the U.S. flag. Listen, I know that's right. W's in the chat for Eveline for the $5 donation to the cookout, guys.
Also, if I could,
if you want to actually support the live, you go ahead and Santana Speaks 24. Also, you can support on YouTube and give my amazing panel. And also, just one more FYI, I know there's a bunch of people in the box. Specifically, there's a couple of people in the box like Britta and No Sir. Like, guys, I don't know exactly. I don't know. Like, I know you guys see this panel and you see these amazing people up here, and you think, oh, this is my opportunity to shine. I don't know. I don't know about all that.
Not today, Satan.
Exactly. Like you guys, I don't.
Wait, Santana, I have one more thing to add on top of that. Like also like a lot of people try to act like sort of like debate content or engaging with people content is like not really effective. It doesn't change people's minds. But then what I think is like something that they're not considering is that them arguing that on TikTok, whether it be in a TikTok comment or on a video, is showing that they think that making a post can change someone's mind, right? If they provide an argument. So like they're actually engaging in like a contradiction, specifically by saying that like it's not going to change people's minds because they supposedly in their head thought it would change my mind if they were going to argue that or provide it in that context. So I just like I think that everyone agrees that it's like effective and that it does change things. There's just a lot of people that like are angry and don't like how debates function, and that's totally fine. But it doesn't mean like debates are ineffective or like aren't useful.
No, I agree, and that's why we have so many different spaces. Go ahead, Dan, and then Erica, and then Chris.
Yeah, I'll try to be quick. But
You're
basically,
good.
I agree with facets of things that all of you have said. So when Erica said that a lot of these conversations are not for the MAGA that we're talking to, but are for the audience, 100% agree on that. Most of the people, when your original question, Santana, was like how many former MAGA would say because of your live I've changed, and
Yeah.
To be honest, for me, that number is nowhere near the amount of people that came into my live and said something along the lines, or in my messages and said something along the lines of, "Hey, I was never really into politics, but now like you've gotten me into politics because of how engaging these debates have been, how engaging your lives have been," and that's I think an asset to how different our styles are, which is something that you pointed out. Yeah. There are people who have conversations that are less confrontational. There are people that do the hardcore debate stuff, and whatever it is, whether it's pushing people to have the arguments. So like Parker's content is great to watch if you want to start talking to your family on Thanksgiving. It's good to have these arguments. Erica's content is great to watch if you want to see how to speak to a MAGA in a certain way to and go into the actual nitty gritty of the facts of like each bill. Everyone has their own different style, but all of it is still it's still not only educating but giving people the voice that in a lot of cases they didn't even know they had. Something that I had mentioned before is how many people think that no matter what they do, politics is just going to happen regardless of what of their lives. It's not going to affect them, and they can't affect it. And that's why we see over 40% of 18 plus Americans not voting in the last election. And so this type of stuff I think is huge for energizing those that once they find this information, energizing those that want to defend human rights, want to fight for this progressive cause.
Yeah, no, and I'll say this, I think it speaks to not only like the overall way that we handle things and we like speak to people, but even more than that, the different level of entertainment and how we go about actually engaging people. Because a lot of people are like, oh, why do you do this or that or whatever? Like it's not only is it about and I always say, if you enjoy the information, education, and entertainment, like it's all of that. That's how we engage people. Let me read these two off, and then Erica, you got the floor. Massive W's in the chat from Michael, who sent a $50 donation saying, I donated last night, and then you donated to Elvis Cancel. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. I like I'd like to contribute more and maybe bring more awareness. Listen, absolutely, yeah. It was for an effort that's going on in the Congo, and they are trying to actually raise additional money. I had to go check on that GoFundMe. But yeah, listen, I'm always down to donate to good causes and try to put my voice and support behind those causes. So thank you for the $50 donation. But yeah, like I do that because I think it's important. Also, W's in the chat for Angie over on YouTube, who sent a $20 YouTube super chat to say, I'm enjoying the cookout, Santana. Can't wait to into these MAGA FAFO about the BBB. You're absolutely right about that, guys. If you want to support the cookout, go ahead and donate. Santana Speaks 24. Best way to support the live. You can send a YouTube super chat. Make sure you're gifting the panel because they're amazing. E, you got the floor.
I appreciate you. Thank you so very much, love. Draw some hearts in the chat for Falcon.
We don't do hearts here.
We do hearts.
Whatever. Chris, you got the floor.
I would say, like, and I see a lot of people do this, but we all talk to a diverse amount of populations. But I would just say the two things that people get hung up on, and what I try and focus on, is one, the history of things, and the mechanics. And this is what I mean by that. Right, we've all talked to the blogger, the logger, the Arabs for Trump have to be the craziest ones because they voted for Trump for peace in the Middle East. That's never been a thing. But when I talk to a lot of econ bros too, but normally they're just confused about, okay, how did history actually happen compared to how Trump says it happened? And what are the mechanics behind things like debt and GDP and immigrations? And normally, if you can talk through with any population, the history of their demographic or the history of how things have operated, and then tell them the mechanics about how you get there, they'll be more inclined to change their mind. And I think that goes across any population that we run into.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, engaging with those people, and especially that's the one thing that I appreciate about everyone on this panel and what we do overall. Not everyone does the same thing, and we all have like specialties, right? I mean, yeah, we know how to talk to different things, but I feel like everyone on this panel has a specialty, and we can speak to those different categories of, you know, I don't want to call them debaters, but the people on the opposite side that have a certain opinion, and we all have, either we can actually engage in that or break it down specifically, or we reach out to each other and we know like, hey, I can pull this person in for this or this or this. Smitty, what do you got?
I was going to just echo what a lot of you already said, but I also want to just emphasize, like, for instance, there was this Latina woman that DM'd me the other day, right? And she was like, Smitty, it's just nice to know that there's somebody echoing my voice, because there's so many of us, you know, that don't feel well physically and are not going to the hospital. There's so many of us that can't go into work. There's so many of us that are afraid. There's actually content creators that are afraid of speaking on this issue because they're not U.S. citizens. And so I think it is important to talk to folks who disagree, but it can't be understated how important it is for those who agree, who are in the chat, who may not even make one comment, to just know that there are other people that agree with them and that they're not the only one, because I think there's a sense of loneliness that's gripping this country that people feel. They feel that they're not valued. They feel that they're not welcome. And so, you know, to have places like this, right, spots like yours, my friend, that you guys do just such a good job of being able to speak to people. And I want to go back to what Dan was saying about Zora Mamdani, because that campaign is also doing something similar in regards, in my opinion, to Islamophobia and just in hate in general, right? Yeah. And so you're seeing this man, whatever you think about his policies, right? You're seeing what is happening and the reaction to him as he's, you know, winning all of this votes just by doing what a good politician does, by the way, right? Going out and listening to the voters and being able to construct ideas that appeal to those voters, right? And it's not just the ideas that he's coming up with, it's his responsiveness, such that it seems like, hey, if this idea is a bad one, he'll come up with another one that'll be better, right? And so the response to that has just been so blatantly disgusting. Again, no matter what your race, ethnicity, nationality may be, to see what's happening to him, I think also, right, helps reform people who may not have thought, okay, well, this Islamophobia thing is not a big deal, or this, you know, this racism thing is not a big deal. But when you see it just being so blatant and ugly, again, I think it calls for people to change, right? It makes people uncomfortable, and you have to be uncomfortable to change. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, listen, I completely agree. I think there's a lot when people get mad, because I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys have seen the clip, but when they were having the debates and they were saying like, hey, if you're elected mayor, where's your first stop going to be? And then all the actual people running was like, oh, we're going to go to Israel. We're going to go to Israel. And Madani was like, no, I'm staying here in New York. Like, I can talk to Jewish New York people here, but why? Like, I have to worry about my people here and actually focus. And like, they started to attack him for saying, oh, so you wouldn't go to Israel? It's like, no, I gotta actually do the things for the people here. Let me read these two off real quick. W's in the chat for It's a Plant, who sent a $9 donation saying, thank you for what you do. It's a Plant. Thank you for that $9 donation towards the cookout. Also, W's in the chat for Allison, who sent a $10 YouTube super chat to say, first time in your live, love you. Hashtag tiny blue dot, massive flooding in Texas. I saw that right now. Kids missing, several unalive. And a bunch of emojis. Potato salad is no right. Erica's the only person that puts raisins in her potato salad, so we don't have to worry about that. Anyway, guys, massive W. Erica, do that. Boom. Massive W's in the chat.
Something when you're done, Santana, because I wanted to add something to what you're saying.
Yeah. Guys, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, pay links in the bio. If you want to support, you can do so. Make sure, focus. I need everyone to focus on the panel because I'm not seeing enough love for the people on the panel, and they are here of their own volition, and they even brought good stuff to the cookout. Listen, we got people who brought ribs, we got steaks, we got lobster. Make sure we're taking care of these people on the panel. Zeus, you wanted to ask something? Then I want to go to my brother, the weird gecko guy.
I guess circling back to what you were bringing up, and why it's important to have these kind of platforms. And yeah, I agree. We all have our different approach. You know, my style tends to be more of the lake of fire treatment after I, dress them down a little bit, right? But there are people who voted for Trump who've came onto my platform and in one way or another have admitted they regretted their vote, right?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna be honest, it's a guilty pleasure of mine to watch videos of that and kind of say like, well, why did you. But I think it's very important that we continue to have these conversations because those are the people that tend to come back and report back and say, you know what, I have a lot to I made a mistake and they vocalize that, but I also know that these people tend to be aware that there's a lot of behavior things that they've learned or maybe they didn't learn that they have to start personally learning how to unpack it. It might not be easy for them to do it on TikTok, right? Especially if we get into the racism and the misogyny side. A lot of them coming to that reality, they do that work offline, but they'll say, oh, I do regret my vote. I understand that's what was the reason that I did that. So that was the first thing, and then the second thing is
let me say one thing, Zeus. I think one thing that I love about your live, and I'm howdy partner. I'm in there every morning watching. Is the opportunity that you give whether they take it or not, whether there's people who are digging their heels in, or if you are just going to send them to the lake of fire or whatnot, but like you actually give these people an opportunity to hear your perspective, you hear their perspective, and then you give them the opportunity to like make an informed decision and really change their opinion. And I appreciate that about your live like a ton.
Yeah, thank you, and I really do try because I am aware the success rate isn't as high as I would prefer it to be, but as long as there's progress, I recognize that's valuable. But then to what Erica was saying and others, other people are watching us do this, and that goes to my next point. I think of us kind of at the front lines of the battle, so to speak, where we're directly encountering these people right in their misinformation bubbles that they dwell in, or some cases just pure demonic forces that they dwell in. And what we're doing is we're showing people like if you run into a scenario like this in real life, this is kind of how you can handle those situations, and you shouldn't retreat. You really need to speak up right in these moments. And so I think that's why it's very important, despite how difficult it is for those who can have the conversations without it taking a toll on them, to continue to have them. And eventually, you'll start to see success. And then the other thing is, I think sometimes, like right now, I mentioned, Trump, we're in his first quarter right now, the first year. And I think we also have to give ourselves some credit because it's not like we're getting completely blown out. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the network you're creating on this app, the way that, you know, especially looking at how the big beautiful bill was being crammed down our throats, so to speak. I like this. I liked seeing that there were a lot of people out here calling out the real issues that were going on in the bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it to me stopped it from being like a complete blowout. So I think to a certain degree, we got to recognize that you know, the work we're doing now is probably creating a situation where it's not as bad as it could be.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
No, I agree. Let me say this real quick, guys. For the people that are putting like the weird block messages or whatever in the chat with the flags and all that, don't do that. I'm serious. I'm gonna start muting you guys. All right, like I already warned you. Like, don't send that. That's, you know, we're not gonna do that. So don't put the flag and, you know, all the other. Listen, mods, get on their heads. But yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Because for as much crap as I think that we give like the Democratic Party and certain people within the party who don't actually step up and do the things, I think, and whether it be a little too late, they at least try to ring the alarm and make it known that like, hey, this bill is horrible. And I think that they need to work on their messaging a lot, but like they at least did that. Real quick, guys, W's in the chat for Nina, who sent a $20 donation saying CookOut, love, appreciate you. Thank you so much for that $20 donation, Nina. And also W's in the chat for Tori over on YouTube, who sent a $10 YouTube super chat to say excellent conversation with a great group of panelists. Unabashed progressivism. Yeah, progressives.
He can't
is
read.
The way forward, whatever, dude. Is the way forward. The Democratic establishment is the way of the past. I absolutely agree. I mean, like, they have to hear our voices, and we have to be the ones that actually lead that. Guys, if you want to support the live, you can do so. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. If you want to chip in on the cookout, or you can send a YouTube super chat. But again, make sure that we're taking care of all of these amazing panelists. Please, please, please. The Weird Gecko guy, floor is yours, my brother. Go ahead and get you a plate.
For having me, y'all. Also, since this is my first cookout, all I'm bringing is Remy and paper goods and a sheet cake.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Chocolate sheet cake or yellow? Yes.
I feel like the correct answer is yellow.
Okay, good. Thank God. Go ahead.
I want you to know I will try your raisin plate, and I will politely put the plate upside down after I take a big heaping.
Yeah, Erica puts raisins in everything, so like, yeah, it's weird. I don't know why she does it.
Maybe Erica just loves wine, and she know grapes could have been wine.
Yeah.
The preemptive mute was crazy fancy.
Wow, baby. Wow, this is ridiculous. I am treated so awfully over here.
I can't believe they're treating you like this. This is blatant sexism.
Wait,
It is.
Wait, Erica.
Don't do it. Come on.
I won't. I'll hold it. Hold on.
Look,
Okay.
I'm just gonna get a coalition of women to send you messages.
Yeah. The Weird Gecko.
Shots
Sorry.
fired.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. So I come at this a little bit different than y'all. I have a different perspective. Could be my age, I don't know. But like when I talk to people, one of the things I really try and suss out in the beginning is, are you actively awful or are you passively awful? Because there are a lot of people out there. To me, this is a numbers game. You know, like we tried to do it without these people and we didn't have the numbers. So I would rather, like, I'm going to keep trash talking this one particular right-wing creator until the app makes me stop.
Do it. I choose
In the time it would take,
do it.
In the time it would take me to get one thought into Ray Ray's head, I can get thoughts into 30 passively bad people. You know what I mean? Like, there are people out there that have bad ideas because they've absorbed them from society, not because they gleefully dive into them. And I at least worry, and this is no shade to anyone on the panel because I've seen it work, I worry that when I talk to someone who is actively evil, I am just platforming active evilness. You know, like there are plenty of people that are like, I'm an old school Republican and I don't recognize what MAGA has done to my party. And those are the people that we're going to switch much faster than MAGA, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that there's a lot to be said about, because I say this all the time, and like, depending on if I'm sparring or whatever the case may be, like there's people that come up, and you guys know me, like I have a two-prong approach. Either I'm gonna like hit the soundboards and call them slap nuts and make fun of them and like dog walk them, or if they seem like genuine and they really want to get into like an actual conversation, then I can do that. And I try to, you can gauge the person when you start talking to them, and the same approach isn't needed for everyone. So I agree.
Yeah. Like I don't want to platform someone who has the most vile of ideas. Mm-hmm. So, but I also recognize maybe if it's people like Parker that can stay calm no matter what, you can debate those people.
I've seen Parker crash.
But as I know, Santana well knows, someone says the wrong thing to me, and I'm like, sorry, Santana's mama. Yeah. F, you effity F.
Yeah.
So here's I think that like it gets to a point with certain people. Obviously, it's like it's contextual to a circumstance. Obviously, in terms of who you're going to. Also, it's like important like to have a response as well. Like, is it going to produce a response that people are going to learn from, because it's such a view that's so prevalent? Because at a certain point, such views, like if they are so prevalent, you have to respond to them, right? Like there are so many vile views that Republicans hold that I think we have to respond to, and I have to debate them on up to a certain point so that I can get people to understand a certain thing within society. So like there's obviously like multiple things that we'd be like sort of like thinking of at the same time. So like, I mean, obviously, like I think that there's obviously something that you need to like think about and always like, have conversation about, like, are you going too far? And obviously the chat's there to exist to like be like, okay, at this point it's a little bit too much, right? Of course, in like some circumstances, right? So there's so many things that you can like take into account in the scenario. So I guess it just depends on the scenario for me in terms of like whether or not it's going to produce people in the. Yeah, of course, like oftentimes I've had scenarios where they actually do, but most of the time they're not going to change. It's for the people in the audience to see that particular perspective and that it does exist, right? Because I mean, there are actually even a lot of family members that people have that hold those opinions as well, and it's like people need to be able to have the ability to respond to those, to dispel those, and to find a way that's constructive for them to change. Because if that can exist, well, then it would be a better world if that can't happen.
I'm going to mute you for a second because they were talking about the actual background noise. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I was just going to say I agree with both your perspectives, Parker and Gecko Guy. But I think there's a fine line. Actually, I don't even say a fine line. I think there's a line that you need to determine with each individual guest. Like Parker said, there's some ideas that to a lot of us are so disgusting. It's hard to even process that people believe this, but it's so prevalent that it's important to push back against it. So, for example, if you have a guest coming up and talking about undocumented immigrants and calling them illegals, not even just illegal immigrants, illegals, right? Where it's just an adjective. Yep. They're dehumanizing them to a point that enrages me. But that's not somebody that I'm going to immediately drop the conversation, because this is a sizable portion of our population that see immigrants this way, for better or for worse, whether it's because they've been hateful their whole adult life, or they've been conditioned this way in the past few years because of the rhetoric coming from people like Donald Trump. This is something that needs to be spoken to. Versus if you have somebody come up and it becomes clear after 2 or 3 questions that their mask starts to slip and they want the YT ethno state, I'm not going to platform that for much longer. You let the mask slip. You let the audience know these people do exist. But we're gonna go to the next guest. And I think it is like Parker said. It depends on people, if people can learn from the conversation.
Yeah. No,
yeah. And again, no shade to anyone up here. You're all doing good work. I was just saying, like, I come at it a little different, but also like I'm twice the age of some of y'all, so my audience might also be twice the age and much more like my audience might be much more like locked into their ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and that's the interesting, that's why it's weird. I'll say this, it's weird to have us all on the panel together because one, we're so different in a lot of different ways too. We have so many different types of people that are in our communities, and like we do different. It's amazing, but I love the fact that we can have those like different conversations and do all this different stuff. Like it's amazing. Let me read this off real quick, and then I got to do one other thing, guys. W's in the chat for Rebecca. For Rebecca, who sent a $5 donation saying, "Thank you for letting the disabled have a voice." Listen, the people that are in my community that have disabilities, of course, know that they are always welcome. But like, I think we tend to forget about the disabled community a lot. So I think it's super important to put more focus on them and the ways that they're negatively being impacted. Because, you know, this past week, for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking more about racism, anti-Blackness, digging into like biases, and then also doing intersectionality on late nights. And the one point that I think a lot of people actually miss is like how people in the disabled community actually have so many different points within this intersectionality. And we have to make sure that we're highlighting those things, because if you are able-bodied, then you're inherently ableist. Like you don't think about those things. You don't think about like, oh, am I gonna have to, if I go somewhere, will they have like a ramp to get somewhere? Oh, if I go out to eat, are they gonna have a menu that's in Braille? Like, we don't think about those things. All right. So we have to make sure that we're highlighting those people. So thank you for that donation. Also, guys, W's in the chat for Dewana, who sent a $10 donation. Thank you for having this cookout. Listen, everybody got to eat. Thank you so much for that $10 donation. Guys, if you like to support the cookout, you can do so. Santana Speaks 24. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links in the link tree in the bio. And then also, if you'd like to support over on YouTube, you can do so with a YouTube super chat. And make sure you're taking care of my lovely, beautiful, amazing, wonderful panel. They are here and they are serving it up. With that being said, Kobe, Athena, Era, is that short for Eritrean? Era Princess?
Yeah, you can just call me. Yeah, you can just call me Athena though. It's okay. This is like a backup of a backup of a backup. So
you got like
a backup of a backup.
Exactly.
No. So first of all, hi. Thank you for allowing me up on this amazing panel. Like really crazy. Well, I mean,
come on now.
Well, you know, I am Afro-Caucasian, but like, thank you very much for being so kind enough to invite me to the cookout as an Afro-Caucasian woman. But anyways, as I was saying, I think when it comes to debates, it's very hard to reduce harm, maybe. Because sometimes I've noticed that maybe people like debaters, like say for example, I was just joking. I'm not Afro-Caucasian. I'm Black, y'all.
They don't know. They don't know how. Never mind. They don't know
I'm Black, y'all. But yeah, I was just joking, y'all. But what I was saying was, I think like sometimes this is something that like as a big creator, it is incredibly important. To be able to find that balance between continuing to have a debate with somebody who might be ignorant, not only to educate them, but to educate your audience, primarily, and then also reducing harm, like harm reduction, right? Because sometimes a conversation could actually cause more harm than it's causing good, especially if some misinformation that is being spread, regardless of how small that misinformation might appear to be, isn't tackled.
So let me ask you this, because like I get fussed at on the back end because I'll have certain conversations that people are like, oh, you shouldn't talk to this person, or why are you still engaging with this person? And I try to, like, I'm willing to talk to certain people to a certain point, but like, how do you sniff out that line? Like, Athena, like what do you do like between having either a genuine debate conversation or using it as a teaching experience versus like actually having to worry about like, this is actually harmful?
Oh, I'm not the type of person who like just easily gives up on people. Like I had a conversation with a person like 2 years ago who literally said that they think all queer people should be unalived, and a year later they were out here being like a leftist, believing in communism and stuff like that, right? So I don't necessarily believe in just giving up on people. I think what's important though is changed behavior, and if the person is continuing to cause active harm or not. If a person has bigoted beliefs and is willing to work on deconstructing them, I think that's when I would like invest in the person. But if the person doesn't even realize that they have bigoted beliefs, and if they continue actively causing harm, that's when I just kind of nip it in the bud and don't bother associating myself with them. Because if I do that, what am I telling the people who follow me? Am I telling them that I am okay with bigotry? Am I okay with Islamophobia? Am I okay with anti-blackness? Am I okay with any other ism? Because I'm working on the person. I'm basically telling people that that this is not like a hard line for me, right? And I wouldn't want that.
So let's do this real quick because I want to hear from everybody. I would love to get everyone's opinion. Let's speed run this. I want to start at the top, and I want to hear like, what do you think on that, and what's your line, Erica? Starting with you, where's the line for you as far as talking to people, and when you get to the point where you're like, nah,
Ableism.
I can't do this.
Ableism. Once you like, I'm from Virginia, I can deal with racism. But once it comes to like ableism, because you know why, Santana. Once it comes to that, it's like it's a no, it's a non-starter for me. You got to go. I'm not gonna deal with people who are just cruel for the hell of it. Ableism is my full stop.
Okay, Zeus, what about you? Where's your line? When do you say, all right, that's enough, you got to go?
I try to give people the benefit of the doubt about whatever it is, but once I get to a place where I just feel like, morally speaking, it's taking me to a place that I don't feel represents my values, then the conversation is kind of over after that.
Good call. Okay, Dan, what about you? When do you say no mas?
Usually it's with dehumanization for any marginalized group, but lately, obviously, it's been with undocumented immigrants. I think that when it becomes clear that they're not willing to even change the verbiage, like, hey, could you not call them illegals? And they're unwilling, and it's like, okay, I'm going to go to the next guest. I can't.
Yeah, absolutely. Parker, when do you say, all right, bud, you're crossing the line and you got to go?
I think it's a certain threshold of harm on cruelty without reason. I think that was a good way to frame it. I liked that terminology.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just being like shit to be shit. Chris, what about you? When do you pull the ripcord and tell them they got to go?
I would say that I would say that when the conversation, because with me, I'm gonna try and I'm gonna run it on anybody, but I'll say when it gets like so unrealistic that it's like just dehumanization, just blatant racism, just like all that other stuff. But I'll normally take it on just to deconstruct it in front of everybody. But I have people like Covey, like come to my lives that does a great job. That like maybe see somebody come up to the panel and be like, "This dude's a blatant neo-Nazi. This might cause more harm than good." I'm like, okay. But for me, I'll take on anybody until it just gets so unreasonable. I'm like, dude, you just need to go to somewhere outside of the U.S. That's how bad it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. Schmitty, when do you say that you've had enough and the person needs to get the boot?
Yeah, it's a good question. My panel in this aspect, I'm running a little bit different. That, given that I really mostly just moderate, I may interject here or there. But I've always told my mods and folks like Covey as well, I agree with Chris, that they've got full power to drop somebody if they sense that there's any harm being done. Because I do tend to stick with it, and probably for far too long at times. And so I've always told my mods, hey, I will always back you. If you drop somebody, you mute somebody, because there is it can be very dangerous. So, but it's something that I constantly listen. I said this today, actually. We're all as hosts imperfect and trying to improve, right? And so I think it's something that as a community, I'm glad Covey brought this up, Athena brought this up, that we can all do better at.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Weird Gecko guy, when do you let them know that they ain't got to go home, but they got to get the hell up out of here?
Again, for me, the line is like, are you actively spreading hate, or are you unfortunately passively spreading hate, because there's so many people that don't realize they're propagandized, and those are people you can reach. But some people, like, you'll say something to them and they're like gleefully like propagandized, and they're pushing that propaganda. Those people, like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to talk to that person for 20 minutes and not do more harm than good, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I'll just say this for me, because I have like people that specifically I work with, and in a sense they work on my platform, and you know I'm friends with. I trust them. A lot of times they have to let me know, because I feel like I'm closer to Schmitty or Chris or whatever, where I will continue to, as long as I feel like people are having conversations within good faith, then I will continue to actually go, especially like I get hassled about this all the time, and I understand, like, I have such a mixed community of different people and all this other stuff, but like people can come up and they can try to be racist or whatever. Like, that doesn't bother me. Again, I'm, you know, a black man from the South. I've dealt with more racism than anyone on this app could actually try to throw at me. And so that's not something that actually phases me. Now, I do worry if I'm being like harmful to my community as a whole, just because I can deal with it. But yeah, when you start talking about dehumanization and actually actively being harmful to people, like, that's a no-go for me. That's a non-starter. And so I'm willing to have like a lot of different debates or conversations or whatever, but like that's a great point brought up by Athena. Guys, W's in the chat for it's Meredith. Meredith is the one that sent the $5 and said it's Meredith, just a different name on here. Thank you so much for that dollar donation. I didn't know that. Also, W's in the chat for Tori. Tori sent a $5 YouTube super chat to say, I personally disengage in debates if I notice a person is lacking deductive skills. At that point, they're not equipped to have that combo. Yeah, I get it as well. I don't necessarily give up on them when I realize that, oh, you're not equipped for the conversation, but I let them know, like, hey, you might be out of your league on this one. Guys, if you want to support the Cookout, go ahead and send donation. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything's accepted and things appreciated. You can send a YouTube super chat, and also make sure you're taking care of this amazing panel. We have so many great people up here. Last but not least, guys, look up at the top. If you see the word follow, that means you're not following me. This is the main account. Now, I know you might actually be seeing this and you say, oh, it's Santana. I know Santana. Guys, the original account got Thanos away. So make sure you hit that follow button and send your daily heart. Turn on the live notification so you can see when I go live. Let me do this because we're getting.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was literally about to come in.
Can I go after Kobe?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that I've noticed that does not get checked in a lot of these panels, and I'm going to be brutally honest with y'all. I love y'all so much, but that's precisely why I'm being brutally honest, is Western chauvinism. I've noticed that does not get checked at all.
Can you break that down for me?
Yeah. So it's like this paternalistic way of talking about the global South, of this looking down on people in the global South without even realizing you're doing it, by determining what is best for them, or by determining to know, kind of like when I hear people pretending as if they know what's best for people in the global South, or sometimes not even noticing what's happening to the global South. I noticed this a lot when the whole Israel-Iran thing was happening. And people were talking about, oh, what about if America goes into war? What happens to Israel? What happens to Iran? Blah, 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 blah. But nobody was talking about the potential ramifications towards the people of the global South, right? How they're negatively impacted, how they have to survive all of this, what they're going to be doing. And even when people were talking about Iran, there was like this, oh, we can tell them what to do. We're demanding that they don't have nukes and da 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 da. And this is just Western chauvinism. It's paternalism. It's the same type of rhetoric that was used against us as Black people during the colonial period, right? When you had people like Rudyard Kipling writing The White Man's Burden, where he believed that white men, it was their duty to go around the world and civilize the world, because the world was, and I quote, according to Rudyard Kipling, half devil, half child. Because people think that people in the global South cannot think for themselves. And I need people to be aware of the fact that you guys don't know how many people who are in active G-side zones listen to you guys. For me, for example, I literally have people who are in active G-side zones, whether it is in Sudan, whether it is in Gaza, who are in my server, who listen to my lives as well, right? So when we're talking about these situations and we either erase what they're going through, or we talk about them and their communities paternalistically while they're going through a G-side, I think that is like just a whole nother level of dehumanizing that I've noticed does not get checked on any of these panels, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it's something that it's something that I can agree with, and I know like that's something that has to be addressed. And it's funny, again, I mentioned the people that I work with on the back end, who specifically like there's no way I couldn't be successful about them and without them. And it was brought to my attention like, hey, when you talk about like undocumented immigrants, right? You need to make sure that you're not speaking from a position of like, oh, well, they add just so much to the U.S. economy and da-da-da-da-da, which is true. But like, hey, don't forget the human aspect. Don't forget the actual people. Like, we can't get so ahead of ourselves that we are so locked in and saying, oh, well, it's about capitalism. It's about money. It's about what's best for us. And so I agree with you, Athena, like the lack of understanding, like, one, the type of privileged situation that we're in, but two, making sure that we don't lose focus on the people that we're supposedly speaking for, right? I mean, one of the topics that I had last week on, or this week on late nights, was talking about speaking up versus speaking over, right? And when you tend to like say, oh, I know what's best for these people, or I know what's best for them, then that's no longer speaking up for them, that's speaking over them. And so I completely agree. We have to amplify those people's voices. And we also have to make sure that we're looking at the human aspect and stepping back and just like getting out of who we are. So I agree with that. Erica, you said you wanted to add something?
Yeah, but it wasn't to that. I wanted to shout out Liz for the $100 on Venmo. Thank you so very much. I missed this last night because it was after I was live. So shout out to Liz for the $100. I appreciate you, love. Also, I wanted to see if because we do spend a lot of time talking about like MAGA. I want to see if we could switch it back to like messaging. And what the Dems can actually, what the left can do to have better messaging, because Dan mentioned how basically the old guard is going after Mandami. How do you say his name?
Mamdani.
I'm not asking you, Santana. Dan, how do you say his name?
That's how you say it. It's Mamdani.
Nope. I don't trust you.
Okay.
Mamdani.
That's what I said.
Mamdani. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Mamdani. So like the New York Times just did a hit piece on him, and I'm like, it's boggling my mind because it feels like the smear campaign is coming from inside of the house. Yeah. But this man is running one of the most successful campaigns on the left that we've seen in a very long time. Like, he actually does. Someone mentioned that that the left doesn't know how to use social media. He knows how to use social media and actually get a message across to people, to different demographics. And like, he actually knows how to get out into neighborhoods and talk to people. And so I'm like, they could actually take some lessons from this guy and how to actually approach their constituents, their voter base. But it's like they're not. I wonder, why does the left constantly want to eat itself?
Yeah, let's throw that around real quick on 1 second. W's in the chat for Pedro, who sent a $5 donation saying, thank you, thanks to these conversations / debate like these, I've taken accountability as a non-voter and continue to educate myself and will vote in the future. Thank you. Listen, massive W's in the chat for you. Yes, thank you for the donations to the cookout, but I am thrilled that you just put that message in there. I mean, like, that's what we do this for, to actually try to impact those people. I know specifically for myself, like, that's a focus that I'm trying to take, is those non-voters. So you're freaking amazing. Thank you so much. And also, thank you to the $5 donation from Shay. What up, Shay? Who said, just for being you. Shay, you're absolutely amazing. Thank you for that, guys. If you want to actually kick in for the cookout, Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, everything's accepted, anything's appreciated. You can support over on YouTube with the YouTube Super Chat. Make sure you hit that follow button. This is the main account. Follow this account and take care of the panel. right? The panel is freaking amazing. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Zeus, I'm going to start with you. Zeus, what do you think about what Erica said as far as counter messaging? Or wait, Erica, was it specifically counter messaging, or was it?
It wasn't counter messaging. It was basically how like the old guard on the left, they don't want Mom Donnie. They don't want him. They don't want him. So they're doing basically a smear campaign. The smear campaign is coming from inside of the house. So why does the left continue to eat itself? Because
yep.
we could learn so much from him.
Yep.
So why we keep doing this to ourselves?
Yeah. Zeus, what do you think? Why does the left tend to have so much infighting?
I'm gonna be brief because I gotta hop off. But
yeah.
My opinion is people there's a lot of fear about what they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it's a reflection of the ignorance to a certain degree. And I hate to say that because that's a very strong word. But I think if people were to actually sit down and try to overcome whatever it is that they're fearful of, they would get to a better place. So to me, it's just that's what's going on. Is we're seeing that there's the fear of letting go of the power and allowing someone else to actually carry the torch and move the country forward. That's what I see, which is weird because that's what George Washington had to do.
Yeah, and Zeus, I know, like it was, I don't know if it was this past week or the week before, and you had, what's the guy's name? Mookie Cookie, something like that.
Oh, Moo. Yeah. Moo.
Yeah. So, like I know I was trying to get up, but then I ended up having to hop in a meeting, so I had to take off. But then, like I wanted to say, we have to actually check ourselves, because with him, I mean, he sounds just like MAGA, right? And the part that I wanted to actually add to that was like, I agree with what he's saying, but the way, like, you're literally attacking, that he came in and attacked you and all this stuff, and he kept saying, you establishment Dems, and I'm thinking to myself, like, you're creating that exact same type of divide where, like, I agree with, I'm more leftist, like I believe in like all the things than being an established Democrat, but I also don't think that like eating ourselves is the way to do it. And the way that he came up and specifically went at you, and I'm like, why would you even do that? That makes no sense. So
yeah, well, again, it's the fear, right? If you don't understand something, most of the time you tend to demonize it and play it down, right? And so I'll say this, as much as you can, keep doing stuff like, or keep doing panels like this.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, I think that'll become something of the past.
Yeah, you know what's wild though, Zeus, and I'm gonna go around to the rest of the panel. And I know you got to take off, but like when I woke up, this was not the plan, and I literally just reached out to all of you, and you guys was like, "Yep," and that's the only reason we're doing this. I was like, I want to do something different, and I think that speaks to not only the versatility of the people on this panel, but the fact that the Democratic Party, the left, has so much talent, and like we're willing to actually be there for each other, help each other, and like it's amazing. So anyway, Dan, what about you? Why does the left eat themselves?
So I touched on this before with the old guard clinging to power. I think a lot of this is just short-sightedness, both in respect to what has been successful in elections in the past. So we have people like Pelosi, for example. Obviously, she's not the only problem. A lot of people demonize her as the main issue, but she's representative of the problem in that successful campaigns like the midterms of 2018, that was a reaction to Donald Trump's election in 2016, and then the successful defense in 2022, that was a reaction to the overturn of Roe v. Wade. These are flashes in the pan, but without anything to build on that, they're not going to continue. And that's why we saw what happened in 2024. We didn't have this message going forward, like we've all talking about, this missing cohesive message that's being pushed out through social media, that's being pushed out through what the voters want, which are younger, more progressive candidates and ideas. So it's short-sightedness in regards to how to win elections. And it's also short-sightedness into what is versus what should be. So, for example, the pushback against candidates like Mamdani and Sanders and any other candidate that uses the word socialist anywhere in their title, a lot of it is because the Democratic Party is mostly backed by moneyed interests, mostly backed by people that might not benefit if these candidates implement their policies. And this is not absolving the Republican. The Republican Party is even worse in that regard. But so for establishment Dems like that, they're thinking this is going to be bad for the party as a whole. They don't even have to be like pure evil. They could be thinking from a strategic point, but a myopic strategic point where this is going to be bad for Dems as a whole because now we might lose funding from such and such place, rather than thinking we need to change the way elections are funded. Yep. We need to push for what they tried to push for back, I think it was HR 1 back in 2018, I can't remember, but we need to push for ways to make it so that these moneyed interests don't have as much of a grip on our political system, especially on the left, where our goal is to be fighting for the people and not for corporations, and it makes it much harder to say something like that when so many of our politicians are backed by lobbyists, are backed by people that are pushing back strongly against candidates like Mamdani, and even using racist ads to do so. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anyone saw the PAC that was backing Cuomo. Yeah. Put out an ad that extended Mamdani's beard. Yep. And darkened his face. Yep. That was not okay, and not something that anyone even associated with a D next to their name should have been okay with. Yep, yep. So this is I think a lot of this problem has to do with short-sightedness in regards to the old guard, and whether that's actually physically old or just establishment Democrats at large. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Let me say this real quick, and then Parker, I'm gonna come to you because I know you got to take off. Guys, we're in a subwave. I just noticed that. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and grab a subscription. We only need 3 subs to close out the subwave. So if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and grab one. You get access to an amazing Discord with a bunch of great people, great resources. You also get access to a bunch of really cool emotes. And also you get a couple of cool features. One, when we're having late nights, you get what's called a fast pass to get on the panel for late nights. So go ahead and grab that. But you also get 2 other really cool things. One is called Tag Me In. When I'm sparring, doing my debates, you get a 5-minute tag me in where you can come in and help me actually debate someone. And also when I'm doing brunch with my creator, you get priority to come up and ask your favorite creator your question. So go ahead and grab a subscription. We only need 3 to close out the subwave. Parker, what about you? I know you got to take off, but why do you think the left keeps eating itself?
I think it's because a lot of Democrats don't want to seem radical or something, but like I think that we really just need to redefine like what it means to be radical, that like none of these progressive opinions by any means to any reasonable or rational human being is radical, and that like the current like moderate stance is incredibly radical actually. If we want to view it that way, I think that's probably like the way that I would view it, is that like they just like don't want to seem radical, or at least that's what I think that like typical people in the party would think based upon the messaging from obviously lobbied interests and like the moderate side of the party.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. Because like the weird thing is that I've said this a million times, if we actually like lean into those things that make us unique and make us special, like we could win so much. But I think Athena has something she wanted to tell you. Athena?
Struggling to unmute. My bad, y'all. My bad. No, this is something I wanted to like mention before even.
You're kind of muffled now.
Oh, am I muffled still?
You're better now. I don't know what you just did. Like you did something, then you undid it.
No, but this is generally like to the topic of what Erica said. I think like the overall concepts need to be addressed first, instead of like the symptoms of it, right? Like instead of this is something that has been a bit frustrating to me. Like instead of just addressing, let's say, Trump or individual politicians, I do think that sometimes you also need to address the environment that created politicians like Trump, right? That normalize the dehumanization of certain groups of people. So things like racism, things like misogyny or patriarchy or whatever these things, ableism, queerphobia, these are the root causes. They also need to be addressed, and not necessarily only the symptoms, because addressing only the symptoms is kind of like putting a Band-Aid on like a pew wound instead of actually addressing the wound itself. But before Parker left, there are like 1.5K people here. This is something that was urgent. I did tell you this in the DM Santana. But one thing that I kind of like am urging people is to please talk about what is happening in Libya. Like, post videos about it, talk about it, because I feel like...
Can you speak to it real quick, Athena?
Yeah, I feel like I'm screaming into the void, I'm not gonna lie, and I don't understand why more people are not angry. America sent, since 2011, I think, almost $1 trillion to Libya. Almost $1 trillion, right? 900, no, $1 billion, I think. 900 something, I'll post it, right? What's happening in Libya is a freaking disaster. Last month, 2 mass graves were found of dozens of asylum seekers. And Trump is planning on sending undocumented migrants to Libya and to South Sudan as well, right? This is actively being funded by America, by the EU too, in which asylum seekers are being prevented from crossing the Mediterranean Sea by being enslaved. And I don't understand why more people are not angry. Like, I don't understand why people are not angry. Like, people sit here and talk about the transatlantic slave trade, about how horrific it is, about how they would have been an abolitionist had they been alive during that time. There's like slavery that exists today. People are being auctioned off at car parks. And it's literally like, I feel like I'm screaming into the void because I don't understand why more people are not angry, right? I had a former enslaved woman on my panel, Saron, who was enslaved when she was 15 years old. She was enslaved and she had to be bought and freed by her brother. And she told me that when she was in the boat in like on the Mediterranean Sea on a boat, that there were women there who were throwing their children, their babies into the sea, right? How is that different than the victims of the transatlantic slave trade who were throwing their babies into the ocean, right? It's not different, right? And Tunisia is capturing asylum seekers and selling them to Libya for $13 per person. $13. Like, you can get a meal at a fast food chain that is more expensive than a human being. And I don't know why, like, people are not talking about this when your taxpayer dollars are going to it. The EU's taxpayers' dollars is going to it as well. Taxpayer, like, money is funding it as well. And, like, people are being enslaved. Like, if you watch the videos coming out of it, it is legitimately disturbing. And recently, like, I read a report yesterday that the EU Coast Guard Frontex is using Israeli drones to capture the coordinates of asylum seekers in the Mediterranean Sea and then pass those coordinates to the Libyan Coast Guard. And the Libyan Coast Guard, which is being fully funded, by the way, by the West, is then capturing these people and then sending them back to the detention centers. And then they're being sold either into slavery, or they're being tortured or detained or just unalived and thrown into a mass grave, right? And 2 mass graves were found last month, and another like 4 or 5 were found in February. And so I'm not trying to be preachy, genuinely, but this is more from like desperation, actually, because I'm not seeing people talk about it. And yesterday I had to go on a live and fundraise for this old Eritrean mother who's stranded in Ethiopia, who had to fundraise for her 18-year-old son who was kidnapped, and they were telling her they're going to sell him into slavery, but she had to pay them $8,000. And she was sitting there on screen crying because she didn't want her son to be sold into slavery. And the fact that this is normalized, there are 1.5K people here. If those 1.5K people, if you guys actually posted on your TikTok about what is happening there, or you hosted a live about it, or you went and you pressured your representatives, or you sent like an email to a human rights organization, or just whatever, like that would be amazing, because I don't understand like why more people are not angry about it. So yeah.
No, listen, I appreciate you, because I count on you for a lot of things that I have in my blind spot. And so I appreciate you not only bringing that up, but holding us all accountable. I mean, I think we all have the opportunity to speak more about that. So I completely agree. So thank you. Also, Park, I know you had to take off. I think Athena wanted to make sure that you knew about that. So I appreciate you.
Can we get some appreciation for Athena in the comment section? Everyone right now, seriously. And W's for Santana for setting this entire thing up. This is this is amazing. I really appreciate this. This is like really cool to do today. I genuinely really appreciate this. This was really fun. This was really cool.
Having a hangout, a cookout, that's it. But no, I appreciate you coming by.
All right. I love everyone. Have a good day, y'all.
See you, bro. Schmitty, coming back to you. Why does the left continue to eat itself?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I want to answer. I want to try to give you my perspective on it. But first, I do want to say one thing to what Athena said, and just commit all in front of everybody to hosting a discussion around Libya and what's going on. So Athena, let's set a day. Let's make it happen. So
I know that's like your thing too. You really get at the heart of those type of issues. So if there's
definitely
anything I can add to it, let me know.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe we can do something together and plan something. But I want to hold myself accountable in front of everybody and make it happen. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get tactical and let's make it happen. So, but going back to the question that you brought up, I think oftentimes, and I do this within my company as well. It's like we look at, well, what do we have to do, right? What tactics do we have to? But if you pull it back, you always got to look at who do you have, right, and focus on who are you amplifying or not. Right. We'll point at Republicans and say, the Republicans are this, they're sexist, they're this, blah, 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 right? When in reality, being ambivalent to sexism is just as bad as being sexist.
Yep.
Right? And if you look at the Democratic Party and where the talent lies, you've got a Jasmine Crockett, but you don't amplify her voice. Yep. You've got an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and you don't amplify her voice, right? You have, Cori Bush, who we lost, and you don't amplify her, or Summer Lee, or you have all of this talent, women of color and Black women that kind of get pushed to the side, right? And so, to me, before you even speak about a tactic and what you're going to do and what tactics you're going to employ, you got to ask yourself, why are these women always, again, being pushed to the side, not being promoted? Hell, even the Republicans got Marjorie Taylor Greene's back more than a lot of times the Democrats do with Jasmine Crockett or AOC, right? And so the reality is, again, why don't the Democrats push the folks that have the true talent to really move folks and really inspire folks? I think that's to me, before you get into any tactic, I think you got to act. They need to ask themselves that question first.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think money. No, I absolutely agree with that. The weird gecko guy, come to you. Why does the left eat itself?
I have a lot of thoughts on this, so if you need to cut me off because I go over time, I respect it. First, do never doubt the Democrats' abilities to steal defeat from the jaws of victory.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we need to really lean on non-Republican politicians about is the establishment Dems, like the Dems in power, regardless of age. They would rather give an election to the right so they can campaign and fundraise off of it than move 1 inch to the left. Gentleman speaking before me brought up AOC. Nancy Pelosi was in the hospital blocking AOC from getting a job so a guy that was actively getting cancer treatment and has since passed away could get that job.
Yep.
You know, like that's like, why do Democrats lose? Because they would rather lose than do what is popular, you know? And that's an unfortunate reality.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that tends to happen a lot. I mean, again, we know for a fact that the one thing about politicians is the thing that they're worrying about is the next election. Like they're always doing that, and they would continue to actually want to hold on to power and be able to fundraise off of the quote unquote losses and like, hey, you know, we're this close, and if we can just do this, then we'll get here. So I completely agree with that point.
Also, something I do want to point out, I'm very aware of how people that look like me normally vote. Look at how the people that look like me voted for Mom Donnie.
Yep.
It is shocking how he did compared to establishment Dems with white male voters.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking.
I'm telling you, like, he has something, and I think that's why you see so many of the established Democrats specifically attacking him, is because he has it. And people know that, like, people really want to change, and they're looking for change, and so that's a thing. Let me read this off real quick, guys. W's in the chat for Heidi. Heidi sent a $10 donation saying, "Hi, I'm from Iceland. It's crazy watching what's going on over there, but I appreciate you so much. Believe it or not, watching your live helps with my mental health. Though sometimes I lose brain cells." Yeah, me too. I'm having a hard time financially, but I wanted to show support. Listen, Heidi, I do
We're
not.
Gecko mute.
I got it.
Oh, my apologies. I thought I had.
I got you. No worries. Heidi, thank you. I don't take that for granted. I don't take the support that you lend, whether it's, you know, monetarily or you just actually being here, listening, tapping the screen, sharing the live. Like, all of those things are super amazing, and just thank you for that. And thank you for the donation. Guys, if anyone else would like to donate, Erica, mute.
It's not me, it's the weird Gecko.
Well, he was muted and then he just came back.
I literally just unmuted to apologize, but I'm not like, sorry. My job does not stop on the 4th of July. My apologies, everyone.
Oh, good. No worries. No worries.
I wanted to clarify something. Are you still reading off? Sorry.
Well, no, I was just about to say, if anyone would like to support the live, you can do so. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. You can also support over on YouTube and send a YouTube super chat. And I'm just going to say this again, guys. Like, again, this was impromptu today. When I woke up, I was like, I want to hang out with some of my friends on TikTok. And I just reached out to a bunch of people, and all of them was like, yep, let's do it. So this is the main account, guys. This is the main account. Make sure you hit that follow button. If you look up at the top and you see the word follow, then you need to make sure you're following me, because if you're not, then you will miss out on stuff like this. But also go back in, claim your heart me, hit that notification, because again, this wasn't planned. I didn't make any announcements. I literally was just like, I want to do this. I put it in my Discord and told people like, hey, we're gonna go live. So if you don't want to miss stuff like this, make sure you follow, make sure you turn on the notification. E, you were about to say something, and then I want to hear from Athena.
And just to be clear, Smitty didn't say we lost Cory Booker. He said, because who really cares about him? He's a moderate. Oh. He might as well be a Republican at this point. Anywho, he said Cory Bush. Cory Bush. Yeah. Yes, Bush. Cori Bush. We all know how to spell Bush. Yep. All right. So with that being said, yeah, she was a true progressive Democrat. Like, she was a true progressive. Mm-hmm. And she actually spoke out against what Netanyahu is doing over there in Gaza. She spoke out about it, even introduced legislation against it, calling for a ceasefire over there. And AIPAC primaried her, put so much money into her candidate that House seat, her seat in St. Louis out of that district, became one of the most expensive House races ever. They put in over $9 million to primary her, and they were successful. Mm-hmm. Yep. They were successful, and it's absolutely disgusting. And I know this is a pivot, but this is why we have to get money out of politics, because that should not be, that it just shouldn't be a thing that they're able to do. Yeah, money shouldn't buy you seats.
No, and I've said this a million times. Like, the thing that they focus on with the money is like, there's a small group of people that's purchasing politicians, and they don't care about their constituents, and that's a whole thing. Let me read these two off, and then Athena, I want to come back to you just to get your thoughts on that. W's in the chat for D-Spec, who sent a $2 donation. Don't drink all the Remy, save me a shot. Listen, you can have the Remy. I got the Uncle I was about to say Uncle Nearest. You know, you can get the Remy. I got the Uncle Nearest. Also, D-Spec sent a $2 donation. I got a slab of ribs in the refrigerator marinating. Break a brother off. And last but not least, another $2. And DT is not invited. Fuck DT. He would never be invited to my cookout. W's in the chat for D-Spec. Thank you so much for that $2 donation. You're absolutely amazing. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Guys, last but not least, we need 4 more subscribers to hit the subscription goal that I have. If you are not a subscriber, please consider grabbing a subscription. You get access to the Discord with a bunch of amazing people, a bunch of resources. It's really amazing. You get a bunch of really cool emotes. Subscribers, can we drop some emotes in the chat, please? Drop a couple of emotes in the chats. You also get access to a fast pass to join the conversation with late nights if you want to actually come up and join the conversation. I know a lot of people have been trying to get in, especially these last couple of weeks, due to the conversation we've had around intersectionality. But if you want to get a fast pass to join the actual conversation, go ahead and grab a subscription. You get access to what's called Tag Me In, where if I'm debating, doing sparring with Santana, and you actually like, this guy sucks, I can actually debate better than him, you can drop in the Discord, tag me in. You get to come up 5 minutes and actually debate whoever I'm debating. And last but not least, when I'm doing brunch with my creator, you get priority with being able to come up and ask the whoever the creator that I'm interviewing your question. So get a subscription. Athena, I want to come back to you. Any thoughts on why the left tends to eat ourselves or eat each other, however we want to say it?
I think what is even the left?
Yeah.
That's like, I feel like under the umbrella term of the left, it's just moderates are included in that, center are included in that, democratic socialists are included in that, communists, socialists, all these different people with wildly different ideologies. So I think that is the issue that exists when it comes to conservatives. They aren't as wildly different from one another as people on the left wing part of the political spectrum. I think that is the issue. I think one of the main issues is just the solution that people think needs to be implemented to fix the problems. I think when you think about, like, let's say if like a center, like a person who is like a democratic socialist thinks that they can reform within the system. And then if you talk to a moderate, they think that, they kind of like need to reach across the aisle. If you talk to like a socialist or like a whatever it is, they think that the whole system needs to be dismantled and rebuilt again. So I think that is the issue. Also, I agree with some of the comments. I do think that people on like the left do tend to hold themselves accountable and hold people on their side accountable, whereas people on the right don't really do that.
They do not. They just let anything. That's why you can say you're gonna grab somebody by the you know what, or have 34 felonies and still become the head of the party, and that's the whole thing. All right, guys. Listen, I've already put most of the food up and wrapped up the plates with foil. So I just checked a couple of bottles. They're empty. The coolers, all the sodas are gone. So I think it's time for us to start to, kind of wrap it up. I'm throwing around the panel for last words. E, what you got?
I really don't have anything. I just want to see us be more involved and have more so of these types of conversations about what it is that we can do and what we actually are doing. I always ask for permission. May I do some promo?
You got it.
Yay! All right, guys, please join me on Sunday the 6th at 1 p.m. Come on, Santana, don't do that. I swear to God. Guys, I don't know why y'all follow him. Anywho, yes, please, Sunday the 6th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for a conversation with different organizers across the country to figure out how we can actually go from, on camera to actually on the ground, and also how you can get involved also in our democratic process, because organizing isn't just protesting, there's so much more to it. And we're going to have a conversation around it. So I look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you, bro, for hosting this space. It's absolutely amazing.
Listen,
Like,
I
you
really
did good.
appreciate you coming up because again, you know how I am. Like I'm super sporadic and like again, this wasn't
Random as
planned.
hell.
Yeah, super. Like this, it was just me doing something. So I appreciate you coming up and spending time and being the first one up and one of the last ones out. So I will forever be grateful for you. But
Go ahead, do the magic.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was foul. That's crazy. Wow. Erica, I wouldn't allow him to do that to me if I
Would you
were
like
you.
to see a magic trick?
Don't drop me, please.
The only reason I haven't dropped you is because you didn't get to say your last words. Hold on. Dan, last words.
I'm going to use part of my time to also plug Erica's panel. For anyone that's been watching my lives for a while, you know that Money Out of Politics and Falcon in particular has been a big part of our community and does the amazing things on the ground that a lot of us wish we can do and in some cases want to do but don't know how to do. So definitely tune into that. I don't know if she said what time it's going to be, but it's on Sunday.
I'll get the Erica, put the time in the chat or send me a Discord message or something so we can make sure we speak to the time that it's going to be on Sunday.
She said 1 p.m.
1 p.m. 1 p.m. what though? I think she's in the Pacific time zone right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 1 p.m. PST, which that's 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. 4 p.m. Pacific. 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific.
And then I just want to thank Santana for bringing all these amazing creators together with not only different styles, different platforms, but also different opinions on how to solve these issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the positives of the left, and I think Athena hit the nail on the head, is that a lot of us have a wide range of opinions on how to solve a lot of these problems, whereas the right doesn't even believe some of these things are problems. And I think panels like this are a good way to bridge that gap. So kudos, Santana, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, Dan, again, you know how much I love you and how much I appreciate you. And I know you're going live and for you to take time away from what you have planned and then come hang out with me on a random notice and to spend so much time up here. I really appreciate you, Dan. And I still appreciate you, Dan. Yeah.
Why are they still friends with you? This is crazy.
I am a horrible person.
This is abuse at this point.
Smitty, what you got?
Man. Hey, you know what? I love it. That's all I'm gonna say, man. Let me just say this, and folks who follow me kind of know and probably know what I'm gonna say right now, but I think it's always very important to reinforce showing gratitude however you can show it, right? There's a lot of work that goes into being a content creator. There's a lot of pressure, and I will even say loneliness, because only you know everything that you're tackling. And so, Win, Santana for putting this together, really appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to just chat about very, very important things. And there's so much more that needs to be discussed. I think Athena, it was very, very on point with amplifying some of the stuff that's going on in the world that, again, we just don't shed enough light on. So I just want to say that, man, appreciate you. Much love.
Yeah, no, listen, I'll say this, man, because you and I have recently just started connecting, and I'm fucking over the moon about that, because I've popped in and out of your live a few times, not really knowing who you were, but I had mutuals on your panel, and then again talking to the person. Everyone knows Kay, but Kay was like, yeah, do you know Schmitty? And I was like, no. And so she sent me some of your stuff and I started watching. I was like, yeah. So I appreciate what you do. And again, just for you to randomly pop up here on a moment's notice. And I think you were live earlier, right?
Morning. Yeah, I actually had a mini crash out. A big crash out for me. It would be mini for y'all, but a big kind of, yeah. It was it was an interesting live. But yes, yeah, I was live this morning.
Yeah, no, and I mean, with that being said, like I know that's got to be a lot. I mean, I've seen your lives, and I would love to see what a crash out looks like for you. So, but Smitty, you again, you know how much I appreciate you, right? The Weird Gecko guy, what you got?
First, I'm sorry I crashed the party because I didn't get an invite. I just crashed.
I sent you like I sent the live to you.
Oh, I just thought TikTok automatically did that.
No. I sent it to you specifically.
Aw.
I sent it specifically to people
I don't
that I wanted
apologize
to
for
join.
nothing.
Exactly.
2, Athena, if you don't mind, can I DM you to make sure I get some details right before I make some videos? And if yes, if no, no worries. If yes, can you tell me what platform you prefer?
You can message my main page because this is my main page, the Covey 2.0 page. You can message that one.
She has
perfect. Yeah, we're mutuals there. Thank you so much. And lastly, Santana, you can't fire me. I quit.
No. How about this? Yeah. Son of a. I see said I gotta be more quicker. Don't worry. I have my finger on the trigger next time.
Yeah, I did the blackest thing ever and invited myself to this cookout, right? I barged in and I ain't apologizing for that
I
either.
sent it to your Kofi account. I didn't know about
really?
like this one. Yeah.
Oh, child. Okay, I was like,
come on.
Let me do the blackest thing ever and just invite myself to this cookout.
I mean, what you could have. You could have. Right.
No, but can I plug something as well?
You do
Would that
whatever
be
you want.
okay
You
with
got
you?
the floor.
Period. Okay. So in my bio there is a link tree. In that
Which
link tree,
bio?
This bio as well. It's in all my bios. There's a
Okay,
link tree. If you go into that link tree, there are a couple of initiatives that I would urge y'all to support, even if you want to donate like $2. There's one initiative that specifically gives like period care to Sudanese women who are displaced during the G-side, and there's another one that focuses on helping Congolese women who are victims of SA. And then there's just like a lot of initiatives that are amazing. In my link tree, just go through the initiatives. They specifically help people from Congo, people from Sudan. There's also a PDF document of some information on what's happening in Libya and what's happening in Egypt as well. Really amazing stuff on the link tree. So that's one thing that I would urge you guys to do on like this holiday, that if you have just like an extra $5 even, you can just donate it to one random link tree, one random initiative. Amazing. These are grassroots initiatives run by people who are Congolese or Sudanese and whatever it is. And so the money really goes there. So that would genuinely be amazing. Another urge that I have is please talk about what's happening in Libya and in Congo, in Libya and in Egypt. On my main page, Covey 2.0, I have posted some videos of victims of the slavery in Libya and in Egypt. I've also posted some information about what's happening in North Africa in general. So, if you just go to my main page, Covey 2.0, you can literally just repost the stuff and inform yourself there as well. So that would genuinely be amazing. Also, in the coming days, I'm going to be co-hosting a live with a big creator where the big creator, I'm not going to name them yet, but we're going to fundraise for Focus Congo, which is trying to get water to 50,000 Congolese children who are displaced in Kibumba from Goma. So show up there. That would be amazing. Just keep it like it will be. More information will come out on my server, and so we can kind of donate to the 50,000 people, not children. Then Santana, I genuinely appreciate you for this live. You kind of are like a glue to a lot of different communities.
It's
And
weird
so-
how I'm connected to like a bunch of people. I love it.
Mhm.
I do. Like,
Yeah, and I appreciate you for that, genuinely. Thank you very much also for showing me nothing but kindness ever since I met you. So just wanted to say that. And you'll never drop me. I'll drop myself.
Hold on, I got some. No, seriously. I was just about to say, when are we gonna do the? Come back up for a second. No, seriously, I have a question. If you go hop back in the box just for a moment. Just for a second.
Okay.
No, I was gonna say, like, when are we gonna do the thing? Like, you never messaged me back about the thing. If not that, then something.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Oh,
You thought. I still need an answer though. Make sure you send me a Discord. I still need an actual answer to that, but got to be more quicker. You know what? Listen, my friends, and let's be clear. Let me do this. Let's be clear, right? Because each and every person that I had up here on this panel, those are my friends. Those are absolutely my friends, and I love each and every one of them. But I always choose violence. You know why? Because ain't no way. Always living my best life. Every single time. Guys, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here because, again, this was impromptu. Didn't have like an actual time or anything. We just did this, and I've had fun. It was just a ton of fun. Guys, before we go, make sure if you look up here, if it says the word follow, make sure you actually say I'm wrong for that. Whatever. If it says follow, you're not following me. Go ahead and make sure you follow me. Listen, guys, thank you for joining us here on the Cookout. This was a TikTok cookout, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm full. I got the itis. I'm about to go take a nap. I got to lay down somewhere. Hope everybody got your fair share, your fill. Thank you for hanging out with us. I don't think I will specifically be live tonight. Like, I don't think I'm sparring, but I might actually go bug some of my friends. Like, I might actually do that. You guys know how I like to irritate them. So I might go panhandle on their panels, or at the very least go play fun sound effects. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thank you all. Thank you for the likes, taps, the shares, the gifts. Thank you for being here. You all are freaking amazing.